Mama, we made it. That ain't. What it do, though? Ladies and motherfucking gentlemen, welcome to the Mama Way Made It podcast. The Mama Way Made It. Who made it? Way made it.
Way made it. Tell them, Nushi.
We have Juan Roberto Santini in the motherfucking building. What it do, baby?
Give it up for Juan Roberto Santini.
Y'all out here. Y'all out here putting my full government name on blast. But that's all right. That's all right.
Because everything about this goddamn beautiful story of yours is going to be put on wax today. Yeah, I said it.
So
I just want to stop and pause this and let y'all know how great I'm feeling today. Right? I got my Chuckies on that Juan Roberto sent me. Right? I got my bottoms on. Shout out best friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling silky smooth. You dig me? And we here with the family. I wish y'all could see the setup we got because it's literally like witchcraft, like on a what it do though level. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to be honest, I look at this man as a big brother of mine. In my journey, our paths crossed because of my mentor, and some of you have heard the story of William J-Dub Smith already.
Lifestyle.
And just so happens that J-Dub and Juan Roberto, I'm not going to call you that all day now.
Yeah, you confuse people like, yo, who is this dude? Like, yo, for those who don't, it is Robert Santini.
Okay. So now I
better known as.
No, but look, I love his Caucasian voicemail because it's, hi, you've reached Robert Santini. Like, I literally picture him giving me a fucking thumbs up as his voicemail's going. And I'm so compelled to be as white as I possibly can.
While you leave a message?
When I leave the message. Hey, Robert, it's me, Anush Moyne.
Hey, man, you got to play the part.
But with that being said, I literally consider this man a big brother of mine. The beautiful thing is, like, he's impacted my life in ways that motherfuckers wouldn't know. And at the same time, there's things about both of our stories that we don't know about one another. And I'm incredibly grateful for the time. And I'm incredibly grateful for the fact that Robert hit us up and asked to come on and said that it's time. And with that being said, welcome to the story of Juan Roberto, a.k.a. Robert Santini.
Hey.
My brother, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm home. It's always nice to come home for the holidays. You know, I'm out in New York doing my bid.
Yeah. But you're not at Rikers.
I'm not at Rikers, no. Just doing that work bid, that corporate bid.
Yeah.
But it's always good to come home, man. You know, there's not a lot of people who are born and raised in L.A. I'm one of those.
You are a prodigal son of Los Angeles.
Hey, man, I'm actually right down the street from where I was born, man. UCLA Medical Center.
Nice.
Right up the street. So I've been running these streets forever, man.
Yeah. Well, where'd you grow up in L.A.?
So I really grew up, like my first house growing up was actually in the Valley. Shout out to the 818.
The Great 18, Robert.
The Great 18, my bad. You know, shout out to the Karate Kid. I moved to the West Side when I was 12, and pretty much been Westwood, Santa Monica since then. So,
awesome.
I mean, I consider the West Side home. My brother, shout out to Big Los, he went to UCLA. And so I spent every summer as a kid running the streets of Westwood with him, living with his college roommates, causing ruckus, rollerblading up and down Gailey.
So let's do this. Before you literally give me that, like, travel to Westwood ad, which I love. So I literally saw you rollerblading throughout the city. I want to talk about the foundational elements of Robert Santini and his first generation in this country, right?
Yeah, man.
You're Peruvian?
Yeah, my father's born in Peru. Mother's born in Honduras.
Got it. So you're Peruvian, Honduran. That's lit.
Both first generation. You know, obviously they were both. We're first generation, all five of us. You know? Yeah, man.
And you, all five of you.
Yeah.
So take me through what young Robert Santini's life was like in the home, growing up in a family where mother and father came to the States for opportunity, right?
Yes.
Little Rob came into a family that was established. You're the fifth, yeah?
I'm the youngest of five, yeah,
You are
man.
the youngest of five. Let's let's walk through what life was like in that household with you.
Man, a lot of love, just given that my parents, their background, that they come from big families that just share a lot of love. My parents actually, this crazy story, met on a train in Central America.
No way.
Met on a train, and essentially my mom was going one way, my dad was going one way. They met. He started hollering and changed, course corrected, was just like, I don't know where I was going, but I'm following this woman.
Wow, it was like that.
Like that. Halfway through the trip, they got off the train together, went back to Honduras. And essentially, my dad, in his crazy way, told my grandma, like, "Hey, so I'm going to marry your daughter."
Oh, wow!
And we've both, talked about wanting to go to America, and
holy shit,
we want to go to America together. And that was that, man. They were just like, "Yo," so they
that quick,
bang bang, dude.
That's literally love at first sight.
Yeah,
then.
yeah. Like that is, you talk about that happens in movies, but that really happened to my parents, man. Like they met and. Yeah, man, that's how, it was on some, like, my dad was like, I want you to be the mother of my children. And she ended up being the mother of his children, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
So just off that kind of tells you the type of dude my dad was. He was smooth, 6'5", just suave dude.
Rico Suave.
Yeah, man, I got to show you some pictures. He was nice with it.
I would love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they just wanted a better life, coming, both of them, from countries where it's like, that America was always seen as a land of opportunity.
Yeah.
And they wanted to end up here. And they did. And, they settled down here in LA and, they had their kids and, they just wanted more for us.
Yeah.
And we all in our separate ways of, now everyone is doing good. Everyone's eating. I'm a proud uncle of 5 kids.
Ooh, that's incredible.
And everyone's doing good, man. And like you said, now everyone looks at our family and from the outside looking in, you just see like 5 kids who are well established and doing well, but like,
I mean, bro, hindsight is 2020.
they don't know like the true Hollywood story, man. They see it, and it's funny because, I work in entertainment. I've been blessed to meet a lot of my heroes, work with a lot of people who I looked up to as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
And, even I sometimes I'm like, man, I would have never pictured this, because of just how crazy everything changed. Like it was good up until I was 6, and then shit hits the fan, man.
What happened when you were 6?
So,
first of all, let's take it up until 6, right?
Okay.
When things didn't change yet.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason I ask this question is because, like, I want to take it back to like how we can literally like look at life through our kids' eyes, right? Like the kid in us's eyes.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, your family were immigrants that came over. Yeah, now you understand that they came over and they had this love and all that. But literally back then, you were literally a seed in their life. What was that household like? What was like young Robbie's like up until 6's like vibe and perception and just like sight of the world around him at that point?
Man, like I said, I'm gonna have to like send you some visuals because you probably don't see it now, but I had Shirley Temple locks down to my biceps.
That's amazing.
And I looked like Mowgli running around.
I love it.
I never wore shoes. And it's funny because everyone, even now in our adult life, like I'm putting this on disclaimer right now, by the way. I put jorts on. You see all these motherfuckers walking around with cut-off shorts? I'm the jort king, man. I'm putting that out right now, bro. I got pictures when I was 5 years old, rolling around the house in jorts.
Wow.
And then, I'm putting Brandon Cox specifically on blast right now because
B. Cox, you getting put on blast here, bro.
When I worked at Konami with B. Cox, I used to rock jorts to work, and Brandon was always hating and always had not so nice things to say about me and my jorts.
But he low-key doesn't have the frame to wear jorts, dog.
But you know what? Go to the gram, and Brandon Cox wears jorts now.
He does.
Now what's up, B. Cox?
What it do, B?
So, but
everything comes around full circle, B.
So that was Young Rob, though, man. Young Rob was always in the house playing with G.I. Joes in the front yard, backyard.
Were you a loud,
barefoot,
rambunctious kid?
Bro, I was loud, rambunctious. I was always told to watch TV from outside the window because if we were in the house and we were watching something like Silent the Olympics or something, I would get too loud.
They put you outside,
and I have to like watch through the window, man. I'm not lying.
Which is crazy because if you think like being surrounded by 4 other kids, it would just be loud everywhere, just kids running around going crazy.
Yeah,
but
it's like you already grew up in a clicked out household.
Yeah.
It's like the 4 chill kids, and then there's one like firecracker just popping off.
I got twin sisters, so they were always doing their thing. My older brother's 10 years older than me, so he was always just kind of on some, you think about when I'm 6, he's 16, man. He's out, he's totally playing ball, hollering at girls, doing the high school thing. So, and then I have another sister who, she was 2 years younger than my brother, and so I'm just kind of in this weird kind of isolated place where I have 4 siblings, but they're all doing their own thing.
That's
so
insane. Yeah.
I just kind of, a whole lot of imaginary games. Yeah. Playing with my toys by myself, kind of making friends in the neighborhood type thing. But it was, not to say I was like neglected, but so I always wanted to be heard because I'm like, oh, you guys are gonna hear me now. Like you guys ignore me, but like you're gonna hear me now. So that was kind of like how I grew up, man. But the house was full of love. It was good. One thing that people don't know, man, like I grew up speaking Spanish. Like I did not learn English until I went to elementary school.
Wow.
Like I was in ESL, which if you hear my voice and how I talk now, like you tell me I'm lying. But my parents, they spoke to me in their native languages because they knew that was going to be important, which ultimately it did because I'll be sitting in the boardroom one day. Just even last month, I'm at Anheuser-Busch for a meeting for Bud Light, and they're like, oh, we wish we had someone who spoke Spanish, and I just bust out fluent Spanish, and their VP looks at me like, you speak Spanish? And I'm like, yeah.
You know what's wild, dog, is that's one of my biggest regrets in my life. Right?
Not learning Farsi?
No, because I was fluent in Farsi too, right? And my mom, being that she's like, okay, I have a son, like naturally like parents, and we were talking about this earlier, parents don't know what parenting is until you're doing it. There's no fucking preparation, right? But they had me, and my mom, when I was like 3 to 4 years old, started having me hooked on phonics. So I literally was reading with the first graders when I was in preschool.
Oh, wow.
Right? But my stubborn ass, like I was the one of one that was stubborn as shit. I literally would respond to my parents in English. My parents I was a fat ass little kid too, and I was fat for a very long time, and I'm still fat as fuck right now internally, right? But my parents would literally say, if you speak Farsi throughout the whole day, we'll go to Baskin Robbins. Like they'd try and
incentivize you.
Yeah, incentivize me to speak Farsi. But I just always rebelled against it. I understand it really well, but my one regret is that growing up, right, there's almost all of my family and my parents, like my mom comes from a big family, my dad does too, is in Iran.
Yeah.
So I was just not upset, but like I wish that I was able to speak to him in more in-depth conversation as opposed to just hi and bye and I can't converse with you in our native tongue.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like it's a barrier.
It is, man, and that's the thing, and it's so important even as kids growing up. I was ashamed, man. I get made fun of, and I was always mad. And my parents like, why are you making me speak Spanish? And why my older brothers and sisters, they speak English, and they would get in trouble if they spoke to me in English.
Wow,
which is crazy because they were like, no, this is how they learn. This is how you learn.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like this is how it is, and whether you like it or not. So I'd try to learn English like watching TV, reading stuff, but looking back, I hated it, and now I love it because I have this. You have an arsenal, bro. Ace up my sleeve.
Yeah.
That has been invaluable to me. Like that having a second language that I can just pull out. Like
that's so necessary in the States.
It is, man. Like in LA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
straight up.
LA is so, multiracial and so many people speak Spanish here. And it's just like, it just helped. It helped me make friends, like
everybody go out and get fucking Rosetta Stone right now and start reading up.
Yes.
I want to take it back to 6.
Yeah.
When did things change?
6 was a big one, man.
Because at 6 years old, it all changed?
Everything changed at 6, man. Like things were normal. Both of my parents worked. They were just kind of, my mom was kind of entrepreneurial. My dad had his own contracting company. And like most things, you kind of get exposed to things. And my father and my uncle got exposed to the drug game here in L.A., man. It was real. 80s, cocaine, you talk about, that was like rampant, and just it consumed my father and my uncle, man.
Wow.
So my father went from being a legit, normal, everyday working class citizen, had a contracting company, 3 trucks, like 12 workers under his team. And, he got introduced to some people who essentially sold him on an idea of making quick money. And, all you got to do is go drop some stuff off here, go pick some stuff up there. And ultimately, as a kid, I didn't really notice. I did see some changes kind of in our house growing up. My dad went from like driving like a van and a truck to all of a sudden there's like a Porsche in the front yard. And I'm like,
A Porsche.
A Porsche, 911, man. And
did you see the dynamic between him and your mom change too?
yeah, like they would be fighting more. My dad wouldn't come home, and my dad used to take me to school every day. Dad stopped taking me to school, and it started becoming like one of those things where it's like, oh, your dad's working. My mom trying to shield me from everything. But ultimately, man, at 7 days before my 7th birthday, I'm at the playground, and my neighbor comes running through the yard and is like, your dad is dead. You should go home right now. That's how I found out how my dad died.
Wait, what?
My punk-ass neighbor that I'll never forget, Jimmy Steffen, lived on Ingomar Street, ran up to the playground. I was just, random afternoon playing after school. I lived 3 blocks from the schoolyard. And that's how I found out. And I was like, wait, what? I went running home, and I walk in.
Was your head just like...
I thought it was a joke.
Okay.
Because, everyone's got those kids in the neighborhood just like punk-ass kids, and he was like definitely like a punk-ass kid.
Yeah.
He was Biff.
Yeah, he was like Biff, man. And so I'm like thinking, this is a joke. This is something I'm going to get home, and my dad's going to be there, and I'm going to go tell my brother to go like beat him up or something. And sure enough, man, I get home, and my mother's crying. My sisters are in the front yard like trying to stop me from going in the house.
Oh, my God.
Because everyone's in the house just like losing their shit. And that was it. But the craziest part about it all is I never knew how my father passed until I was like 16 years old.
Really?
My whole adolescence, I was told that my father died of a heart attack. My father was actually shot, killed.
Was it in the crib or was it?
No, which is the craziest part. So I don't know like the full extent of it because my mom to this day never really fully kind of gives me everything because even she can't talk about it. But my uncle was murdered a month prior.
Wow.
In April, and my dad went crazy. So of course, like any sibling,
the revenge,
the revenge factor just kicks in. And my dad was on a warpath to find out whoever it was and avenge his brother's death. And ultimately it was how he went out. So I didn't know this. The craziest part about it is my father was shot in his car, drove himself to the hospital.
What?
And died at the hospital.
Wow.
When they impounded the car and they brought the car back to our house, I used to like play in the car, and the car like sat in our driveway for like months. And you don't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah,
right.
But there was like blood splattered all inside the car.
Oh my God.
And I would be in the car playing. Mom would like, stay out of the car. She would freak out. I'm like, why? I play in the car all the time. Every Saturday I go in here, I act like I'm driving. But yeah, man. So that changed everything. It changed everything in the sense that all of a sudden my mother just lost it. As any mother would, any wife would, who essentially was, I feel like my mom kind of got robbed of her life because, she comes to the States, leaves everything behind. My mom has never been home since.
Really?
Never, and it just messed her whole world up, man. It flipped it all upside down. And that was one of those things where, we live in a house. My mom literally just stops working, just shuts down. shuts down. Bills are stacking up. Our house got foreclosed on, man.
Oh my.
So now it's like in a calendar year, lose my father, lose the house I grew up in. My brother graduates and goes to college. So now I have no like male father figure in my life.
Wow.
My sister moves out because she couldn't take him, my older sister. So it's me, my mom, and the twins. And we just start bouncing around, man. You know, renting apartments, you know, staying with family, staying with friends here and there. And so eventually it got to the point where my mother was like, I cannot support all three of you guys.
Wait, your mother brought this to you guys? Like, no, but that, like, in that, like, your mother was so affected that even her babies, right? It becomes, I can't do this.
Yeah, she couldn't. Like, it's crazy. I talked to my mom, man, and my mom.
How old were you when this conversation happened? Did you get it?
I didn't get it because I didn't understand, but I just knew that like something was wrong, you know. But it's, you know, as I got older and I'd talk to my mom about things, you know, she kind of explained things because I think, you know, the most important things in life you have is closure.
Yeah.
And I always kind of wanted to have closure. My mom, like, why did this happen? What, you know, tell me as much as you can. You
I'm
know?
a grown man now.
Yeah. You know, because like I said, though, but that didn't happen until I was older.
With all your siblings though, did they know?
No. Other than my older brother and my older sister. Me and the twins did not know.
So they kind of kept it.
Yeah.
And it was their way of like protecting you or like.
Yeah, man. It was because, you know, we're kids, man. We were little. We couldn't understand all of a sudden why things happened. So
Death, and especially like murder or homicide, can't be registered by a son, let alone anybody that's a kid.
no, you know, so I grew up understanding that my father had a heart attack. That was the story. And that's what I'd tell friends. I'd tell anyone, you know, that's what I knew. But it was hard, man, because my life, everything changed from that point. But it's just like my mom, I feel bad for my mother the most.
Why?
Because her life changed, and it wasn't even something that like she had anything that she could have done to prevent it.
She had no control of it.
No control. You know, so you think about someone who essentially sacrificed everything to come to America, to start a family, to get married, to live the American dream.
Yeah.
You have the dream and it just gets ripped from you. You know? So it was just like, it was crazy, man. There was no stability. From like 6 through like 9 or 10. Like I said, my brother had gone to college, so he was going to UCLA. And my mom would just kind of, she's like, you know, you need male positive reinforcement in your life. So every summer, she, you know, spring break, I'd go stay with my brother and his roommates.
Look, as a kid, your brother, right? Because it's hard for somebody, like, we think about it, like, when we went to college and we were like, we wilding out.
Yeah.
And then your brother went to college and he took on the responsibility of being the lead patriarch in his family with his little brother.
Right, he was my father. My brother was my father.
Looking at it now, right?
Yeah.
Was your brother like battling that role and in terms of like being able to grasp it, or was it like, okay, I got you, little bro, like you here now?
No, man, that's, you know, shout out to my brother, man, because he looked out for me ever since I was a kid. You know, he always looked out for me. Even when he was in high school, and, you know, my brother was like the man, you know, like everyone's got like the older brother, like you always look up, like my brother was that dude. He was like prom king, sport varsity athlete, like just the dude, nicest guy ever, wrote for the school paper, you know, just an all around good person. And, you know, when you think, when I'm in high school, I think about my high school days, and, you know, I didn't have younger siblings, but if I did, I wouldn't want them hanging around with me and my friends. Like, It's like, yo, man, beat it, you know, like go play with some toys and get out of here.
Yeah.
If anything, though, it was the complete opposite with my brother.
Wow.
He would always.
And he was the man.
And he was the man. So because he was like the man of his group, his friends would be like, man, why is your little brother always tagging along? He'd be like, well, I could go home and play with him, or he could be here with us. What's it going to be? And
okay.
Yeah. And because he was a dude that had the girls, you know, he was driving my dad's Porsche, you know, he was the man.
Yeah.
So.
Shout out to like me, like when that day we moved, like I met your brother for the first time.
Yeah,
like,
man.
You get to see him now, older bro, but then you see the man, the suavemente.
Oh man, my brother had this curl, because we had curly hair, man. My brother had this curl, bro, and he had like the little Superman curl that kind of hung on the forehead. And the Santini family is like known for curls, but like I said, I had Shirley Temple curls down to my shoulders. I was like just straight wilding.
The Santini curls.
The Santini curls real. I bring it back every once in a while. I might have to bring it back before I start losing my hair, man. It's real.
I've completely lost my hair, so like my cul-de-sacs cannot support how gorgeous my curls are. Because then they'd just be fighting for acceptance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But no activator, bro. This was a natural curl, bro. There was no ingredients necessary, man.
I feel you.
I woke up and it was curly, man. Like I would literally just get out the shower and it was just like boof. But my brother was always that dude, and I appreciate him to this day. And it's funny because my entire professional working career would have never happened if it wasn't for my brother. He put me on, like for everything. Like I wanted to be just like my big brother.
That's so incredible, though.
And it's funny because like now I work in PR, but he started working in PR, and that's why like when I was like, "What did you study in college?" That's what I want to study in college. So he was always that role model for me. So I thank God every day for putting him in my life and like having that type of big brother, because he could have easily been like, yo, fall back with brother. Like I don't want to hang with you.
You idolized him.
Oh man, he was everything to me. Like everything, like I'm a little carbon copy of him.
That's so, nice.
So he was that father figure to me. But yeah, man, he's an amazing dude, man. And now, he's working in the inner city, with after school program for 15 years. And he's essentially doing his part to make sure that kids like me who grew up from damaged, jacked up backgrounds have reinforcement and positive role models in their lives.
Do you think what happened to your father played a big role in him doing that?
Yeah, because even he had to like course correct.
Yeah.
Because to him, he's just like, yo, I'm going to college, track scholarship to UCLA. Like I'm going to go just live my life and do my thing. And all of a sudden this happens, and it's just like everyone all of a sudden has to change and has to adjust to this, because it's life, man. He didn't know that he had to be a father figure at 16, but he had to.
Yeah.
You think about people who like in high school would get like a girl pregnant and all of a sudden they become a father. Like he didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
And it
wasn't his decision.
Yeah, it wasn't his decision. Like you knock a girl up, that's like, yo, you were being
Take ownership.
You have some control.
You have some control of it, right?
Yeah.
You didn't use protection, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. With him, it's just like woke up one day and this was reality. Yeah, it was just like, hey, my mom was like, you got to look after your brother now, and I appreciate him more than he knows, because that saved my life. Because if he wasn't around, man, like it could have went all downhill. But he was there, always making sure that I had positive role models in my life, food to eat, clothes on my back. I used to put on his clothes, it was like 5 times baggy because I was a little skinny run. But he was always there, man.
How dope is it that like big bro, right, Guardian, was also the flyest motherfucker?
Oh, bro.
Right? Imagine if he was like just like studious, like, hello, Robert, like your fucking voicemail. If your brother was like your fucking voicemail, how you'd be today. Hi, it's Robert.
Nah, man.
No, but like you ran track in college,
Yeah.
Now, with knowing that, take us through like junior high and high school. What were like the ambitions, even like okay, so 6 through 9, like 6 through 10, right? You're with your brother. You're growing up with him. He's going through his life. He's graduated. What was like young Rob's vibe? Because you're Samo till you die. You're LA till you die. Everything about the culture, you are it. Everything about from when you started as a kid to appreciating the past and understanding the blossom of the present, right? Take us through that, because you have such grounded roots in your love for your city, right?
Man.
But that birthed at that time, right? That really, like, you couldn't be in college and be a grown man and say, I love LA. Like, there were things that happened and moments that, like, developed this that in those times were being solidified, whether you knew it or not. Like, I want to run through, like, Robert Santini in, like, junior high through high school. What were your, like, ambitions? What were you thinking? How were you? What was the vibe? Like, let's go.
Man, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. It was just like survival mode, you know?
Really?
Like I didn't have that natural, like I didn't always want to, you know, someone like knew what they wanted to be at a very young age. Like I was just like, yo, I just want to have a roof over my head and food to eat and clothes on my back. Like that was Rob's mission, to make sure that was always straight.
Wow.
You know, because of just the reality of bouncing around from house to house, you know, like I tell people, like, and people like don't believe me, like I used to get my bus money because like I rode the Big Blue Bus, Santa Monica Big Blue Bus.
Yep. Yeah. 50 cent bus.
50 cent bus, yeah.
Was good.
Inflation now, I think it might be a little bit more expensive than that. It's like 125, but back when I was growing up in like middle school, high school, 50 cents, right? I would go to the liquor store. I'd buy a 25-cent piece of gum with $1 food stamp. That's how I'd get my bus money.
Wow.
To and from school every day, you know? And that was my reality, you know, hustling. My brother, because of the generational gap, I was always young entrepreneur in my life. My brother bought me The Chronic, Dr. Dre's The Chronic in 91 when it dropped. I think it was 91. And
burn these CDs, dog. Talk to me,
bro. Not CDs, bro. I'm talking about Maxwell cassettes.
Yeah,
oh,
tapes, dude.
My bad, my bad, old man.
Because
my bad.
my brother was like in a dance crew in high school because he was also, again, he was the dude.
B-boy. So your brother was in the Key Club, Honor Roll, Dean's List, ASB, fucking wrote for the paper.
Boss
he
out.
picked the yearbook
Everything,
pictures out. He was just that guy.
That dude, yeah. And he worked at the movie theater and at the local Sports Chalet. Like he was that dude.
And Sports Chalet.
Oh
That's
yeah,
like
he had the
childhood
sneaker. He had the
staples,
sneaker
dog.
plug and he had the movie plug.
Respect.
But yeah, man, it's one of those things where it's kind of like the survival mode was real.
Were you ashamed of it to a degree?
I was.
Or were you like hella self-conscious about it? Because like survival mode is like you got to get it done, right? But like inside your mind, were you thinking like, damn, like what was that thought like?
Dude, it was.
Was it why me? Was it like what the fuck's going on?
It was, man, and that's the thing, you know. It's like it's why like me and my siblings were always like hustling because we always had to find a way to make money. Like even my brother was telling someone the other day, like I was telling you the whole thing. He bought me The Chronic. I'd go to warehouse. I'd buy a pack of blanks tapes, and I'd dub it because at my age, no one's parents would buy them The Chronic.
I feel you.
But because my brother was 18 and now I'm 8, I'm in elementary school selling cassette copies of The Chronic for $5.
Dre, understand this. The streets was really talking.
I mean,
and the streets was the youngsters that are still waiting on your fucking next album.
Yeah, man. I was selling copies of The Chronic, Snoop and Dre's Chronic for $5. Wow. That's how I got my lunch money. That's how I made my allowance, was just hustling.
You were rich back then.
Oh, bro, I was going to Ross and Marshalls and popping tags, bro.
Yo, Marshalls was my shit though.
Bro, that
Respect.
was the undercover swag at Ross and Marshalls was so ill. Bro, like
it's wild. I'm glad that you were the fly guy at Marshalls because I was hitting the Sean John, the Pure Players, the Vocal, the
Mark
Outcast.
Echo. Yeah, man.
The Carl
Pele.
Kanais.
Oh yeah, man. It was real. But you know, you talk about like being ashamed and stuff, and I was, but I masked it very well.
Got it.
Because I didn't look poor, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
you know, like my mom, you know, I never lived in the projects. I never lived like, you know, Section 8 housing or anything like that. My mom always was like, we might be poor, but people don't need to know that we're poor.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And that was how I always carried myself. I'm like, I'm not going to let people know how rough it is at my house. Ooh. You know, they don't need to know. But because of that, you know, I was guarded, man. You know, like friends never came over to our house.
Yeah.
You know, no one ever spent the night.
Yeah.
You know, and it was always like, I had to kind of like, you know, be a little bit like, this is happening, so like you can't come over, or you know, this situation presented itself, so I can't join the team because I can't pay for the, you know, I couldn't join traveling leagues, none of that, you know, like because we were broke, man. Like it was pay rent, eat food, you know, like have clean clothes,
rinse and repeat.
Yeah, man, and that was pretty much middle school and high school, and you talk about what that was, how young Rob was. It was just like trying to not let people know how bad it really was, you know? So to a certain degree that affects kind of even like your friendships, because like I felt like I couldn't really be real with people. It was always kind of trying to be a little bit deceitful and kind of take them off pace. You know, almost kind of like I gotta have them like lose my track. You know, they can't follow me. They can't know what it really is.
Damn.
So that's what it was, man. And it's unfortunate because there's sometimes like you want to be open and honest with people, but let's be honest, when you're kids, like kids are ruthless, man.
Ruthless.
Like if kids found out like that I was changing, you know, bus fare for food stamps, like I'd get roasted, you know, like if we were bouncing around from apartment to apartment, you know, like that was just the reality of like, yo, that has to stay undercover. People can't know that.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a lot of my youth, was just making sure that people didn't know that, you know, kind of like throwing them off.
What was your outlet?
Honestly, man, sports and ironically, youth group, man. I was in the youth group from like 13 all through high school.
Really?
Yeah. And that really kind of helped keep me out of trouble.
What is a youth group?
Youth group, I went to like a non-denominational Christian church, and they'd have, you know, a bunch of young kids. We had a youth group leader who was, you know, like in his 20s, just graduated college, real cool dude. And they just made sure that we kind of stayed out of trouble, man. Friday nights after our like football games and sporting events, instead of like going out and hanging out in the parking lot and drinking and smoking and stuff, like we'd go to youth group. Like we would go to my youth pastor's house and have like WWF, before it was WWE, like Royal Rumbles, like some real nerdy shit. But like it was just like a bunch of other high school kids who kind of came from the same backgrounds. You know, a lot of us came from broken homes, and not everyone did, but it was just a cool, very kind of familiar place that like I found refuge in that. And those people knew. Yeah. Like those people always knew, because it was a lot of those people in that church that helped me and my family growing up.
Wow.
You know, like they would let us stay at their house if we were in between apartments.
Oh, shit.
You know,
so it was like home, an extension of home.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's so important because it could have easily gone the other way. Like when you find yourself, I mean, unfortunately, like poverty is what breeds crime, right?
Yeah.
So if you come from that background, even though maybe your surrounding is, you went to Samo? Or
Samo High, yeah, man. Public school's finest.
Where you have like middle class and upper class kids.
Yeah.
But if you come from a lower class and you want to find a connection, especially at that adolescent age, you're going to, you know, be attracted towards other people in that, which more than not does lead to, you know, getting into crime, getting into the wrong group of kids.
It's trouble.
Yeah, man.
Getting into trouble. So finding that, luckily for you, was such an important time.
A refuge.
Yeah, I mean, because it could have easily gone the other way.
It could have, man. And that's the thing. So I always like appreciate the youth group, because it was like there for me at a very important time in my life. To like it put morals and values into play for me. So did I do stupid stuff in high school?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you were a kid.
All did.
Yeah.
You know, did I get to the point where like it was really bad? No, because I always had that internal voice in my head saying, Rob, like, that's bad. You can't do that, you know? And also not just that, but
also, you had a gauge though.
Yeah, man. Not just that, but I also thought in my head, like, think about everything that we've gone through. Like, if I messed up and did some stupid shit, like how much more heartbreak that would cause my mother. You know? So like I always had that on my conscience. Like, yo, like I can't, my mom has been let down in life so much already. I don't want to add to that. You know what I'm saying?
What kind of student were you?
I'll be honest, man. I was a bright kid. Like, you know, if you remember those CTBS tests that you used to have to take, like in grade school, like those statewide standardized
testing. Yeah.
I used to place like top of my class, but I also had ADHD. Ooh. So I was that kid who like finishes work and then go fuck with everybody else. Yeah. So I was always in the teacher's office. But then, you know, I also had things as I was growing up and found out like I was dyslexic. So I also had things that like kind of stopped me from like really doing great in school. And I would get insecure because I wouldn't want to like tell people that I had a problem. So I'd keep it in. Yeah. But, you know, I would get kicked out of schools because of my ADHD. And they were like, yo, it wasn't until I had to go down to the UCLA Neuroscience Center where they diagnosed me. But they wouldn't let me back into my school if I didn't get a prescription for Ritalin.
Really?
Yeah, man. It was like.
Did you get it?
And I got it, man. It was seventh grade was a blur. I'm gonna tell you that right now, man.
You know what's wild? And I'll bring this up. And like, it's so beautiful that we can get into context because, like, hey, you, we're talking to you, right? Whoever that may be. Because when I was a kid, I was that rambunctious fucker that like wouldn't pay attention, would like ask questions of the teacher, like as a kid, right? And bother the students, but all my test scores were super high, right? Like I literally get bored. I'd do my work, I'd get bored as a kid. And one day, and I remember this because I remember that like time, but I couldn't put it into context until we spoke about it. But in the second grade, my parents were brought in, and we had to speak with the principals and my professors, like and my teachers and all that. And they were like, "Your son is so bright, but such a nuisance, right? We think that he has ADD, and he just can't focus, right? He's doing super well on all his tests, but he like terrorizes everybody else and the teachers especially because he's so good at what he does and he doesn't even know it, but then he gets it done and he's done." They're like, you either need to bump him up a grade, challenge him, or put him on Ritalin, right?
Yeah.
And shout out to my parents, like Mom, Dad, I love you to death. Because my mom is the fireball,
Yeah.
right? Breadwinner, the thug, like similar to you. She left home at 13, right? Her story is insane.
Yeah.
And we had that talk, right? And my dad is like the Zen, just like calm as shit. My dad cannot get angry at me for more than 10 minutes. I don't care what I do.
Yeah.
Right? I literally could fucking blow up this building to the left of us, right? We'll never do that, by the way, right? And he'd say, "What is going on? Why did you do all this?" And then after that, he'd be like, "I love you, Baba Jun. What do we need to do?" Right? But my parents in that meeting literally told the school, first of all, and imagine the foresight of parents here, right? Is I'm not going to take him from his friends, so there's no bumping him up a grade, right? You guys need to do your job and challenge him, right? Secondly,
Shout out to moms.
if you ever speak again or attempt to give my son anything, I will bring hell down on this school. You figure it out. There's no substance that's going to stop him. What are you doing wrong with him?
Yo,
right?
Man, shout out to your mom for that, man.
Dog, it blew my fucking lid off, right? But it's so crazy that we grow up as kids and like it's either we realize our potential or we don't. There's some kids that may have ADD, ADHD, but it's wild how those people around us, especially educators, right, literally have the ability to fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy for kids. Because, like, fast forward to where you are now, you're a testament to everybody that it has lived like you and has grown up like you, and there's so many, right?
Yeah, man.
But whether you were able to see the possibility early on or whether it came to you and it was just literally building until the crescendo, right? So many of us, we may live completely different lives. We may be super unique as human beings, but so many of us have similar paths, right? But the beauty of this shit is that like we've all lived it. And ultimately, the one thing with being so free to say it is it's okay.
Yeah,
Right.
man. I mean, because it's not our fault, you know. And I've had to tell that to myself a lot growing up, and even as an adult. I didn't ask for the situation and circumstance that I was born into.
Yeah.
It just happened, and I just had to react to it.
That's like nobody in Aleppo asked to grow up there.
No, they don't, you know? Tupac.
Nobody that's Christian, Muslim, whatever, black, white, Asian, asked to, like, can I come in as this race?
Yeah, no.
And nobody knows what race is until we get older. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're talking about Tupac. You know, I was given this world.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't make it. This is given to
Drop
me, man.
a bar on
I
motherfuckers,
grew
dog.
up in this. This is the product of my environment, what I grew up in. Like, I could not change that. As an adult now, I can.
Yeah.
And growing up, I could.
You know what's wild? That Pac knew, and it's crazy because right there's going to be a mural done. Hey, Koa, what up, Christina? You feel me? I'm not going to throw your grams out, but we're working on a piece that was literally inspired by conceptually the rose that grew from concrete. It's going to be Pac with his hands behind his back like that. I just burned my jacket. Right? And in concrete-esque, a rose, and the quote that's going to be in there, right, is, I may not change the world, but I guarantee I'm going to spark the mind that does. And the beauty is, we are the minds that will. And that one mind doesn't mean that you're ultra special and like it was destined for you. No. That mind is the curious mind, dog. But conceptually, just to see somebody that was a narrator for such a time be able to speak to cats like you and I, right? We embrace that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's Tupac is like I tell people all the time. I told my fiance, I'm like, yo, straight up,
greatest to ever do it. I'm not mad
I'm
at
dancing.
you.
I'm dancing with my mom, Dear Mama. That's our song.
All day.
Like
All
there
day.
are two songs that I always spoke to, like the love I have for my mother.
Yeah.
And it's Kanye's Hey Mama, which I cry every time I hear that song. I was fortunate enough. I worked the Grammys through my PR job for 7-8 years, and I saw that performance live, and I was bawling because it just took me back to the relationship and the struggles of me and my mom. And, you know, even I'm not a Grammy Award winning artist, whatever. Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever brought music on a podcast. If this doesn't come out right, fuck it. We in this moment.
Hey, mama. Yo, that shit right there, man. Yeah, man, that song and Dear Mama, like those are like my mother anthems because they speak so much truth of what we grew up, how I grew up, and what they did to protect me, to shield me from things, to try to give me everything I could. Like my mother, she would give me food that was for her so I could eat. You know what I'm saying?
Can we take a moment and literally, I want to shout out all of our mothers and all of y'all's mothers, right? Because understand this. There are times where parents tell us shit and look, because at the end of the day, when you become a parent, your life is your kids. Your life literally is raising this child to be better than you.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes we don't get it. Maybe 90% of the shit is like really holds true and we won't get it. But shout out to every mother, right? Mom, I love you. Feel me? Joe's mom, I love you too.
Love you.
Juan Roberto's mom, I love you
Yo,
too.
shout out to Mama Santini, man. Everyone knew her as Mama Santini. That was like
Mama
her name.
Santini, understand this. It was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? I could never understand what you truly went through, but looking at your son right now, know this. Everything that transpired was for the best.
Hey, man, salute.
100%.
Goddamn.
Yeah, man. She's the strongest woman I know. You know, I mean, for all the things that she's gone through, everything that she sacrificed, everything that she left behind for us, like, you know, and I told you, I financially support my mother today. My mother never has to work a day in life again. I'm by no means like balling, but like, if I have $50, she's getting 25.
Yeah.
Off rip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
off rip
for life. Because I wouldn't be where I am.
That's that's my dream, right?
Yeah, me too, man.
Your boy just can't do that yet. Mom, I love you. I'm gonna get you there. You know this.
You know, but it's not like nothing massive in family. It's not like I'm a rapper. Like, yo, mama will buy you a crib. Like, I don't even own my own crib, but like that apartment that she has, she ain't gonna worry about nothing. No bills, no food,
How good does that
no nothing.
feel,
It feels great, man. It feels great. You know, it's just like on some. Yeah, man. To go back to Tupac, Dear Mama, like, love paying rent when the rent's due. I hope you got that diamond necklace that I sent you. You know, like, there's no way I could pay you back, but my plan is to show that I understand. Like, that's my mom. I could never. There's not enough money that I could make in this lifetime that I could ever make my mom give my mom her life back.
Yeah.
Because my mom sacrificed everything in her life for us.
You know, it's wild, the honesty in that she'll never get it back.
She won't.
Right? But she'll have what it is now. And the craziest shit is that like it's wild because like you see your mother broken from an instance in life that was with no one's control, and we all like just like dream that it never happens, right? Because then we start thinking about what does money matter. Even let's say your dad had $20 billion, what does that matter when your mom's broken, right? She's not
doesn't
going to
matter.
mine diamonds to cry her sorrows.
No.
But
You can't buy her soul, her peace of mind. That was stolen from her, and to never be gained again.
But now you know what's crazy, and I'm just going to make a bold assumption in perspective speak, is now for your mom, regardless of whether she'll ever be the same as that mom again or not, that mom has passed, that mom is a grown woman now, right? But the powerful nature of looking at a grandmother now, seeing her kids all living and doing well, and also having the beauty of being able to literally witness and raise together her children's children. So now the mother becomes somebody that's gone through life, but now can appreciate, because now she's now can appreciate everything she's been through. It's okay. It was worth it.
Yeah, man, because this is the craziest thing, man. And when my mother told me this, like my first reaction was crazy. She goes, there was a point in my life shortly after your father died when, you know, we had these random dudes coming by the house and death threats. She was like, I was ready to end my life. And I don't know what would happen to you guys. Like, it was on some, like...
It was that real.
It was that real. Like, my mother told me, she's like, you know, I was like, I wasn't right in the head, but she's like, there was once upon a time a scenario where she's like, I was going to, like, overdose and all of us were going to just go. Like, my mother was like, we would have all died. And I would have done it. And at my expense. Like... Just for her to tell me that, like, was huge, because she was like, she's like, I felt trapped. I felt alone. I felt like that life was over. There was no reason to live anymore. And there was no, and
nobody's going to hurt my kids.
And to her, she was like, if, you know, I'd rather just take my kid's life and my own life than have them have to deal with a lifetime of hell.
Yeah.
You know? Thankfully, she didn't do that.
Thank God.
I wouldn't be on this Mama We Made It podcast.
Thank everybody that I'm able to see you. I like, hold on. I'm okay.
Nooshi's giving me a hug right now.
Nooshi.
That's some real shit though, man. Like,
what's crazy is like knowing this and hearing this on how much your mom really drove you to later now to become who you are.
Yeah.
But through that critical time, is as hard as that was for your mom, as hard as it was for your siblings and yourself, in the back of your mind, she's always been a force that's driven you to take the right step in the right path.
Always.
Which is wild, you know?
Always. My mother, you know, always instilled in me good values and good morals, whether it's through religion or just through life, everyday life lessons, you know? Mm-hmm. Always be kind to people. Always be positive, you know? Look at where you come from. Look where you're at now. It could be worse.
Yeah.
You know, at least we don't live in the ghetto where you have to worry about getting jacked and have to worry about, you know, dealing with the stuff that you see in the inner city.
Lorenzo getting a gun pulled on him in a fucking library.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Like I didn't.
But that's
have to,
real.
Yeah, that's real. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with that, but I dealt with all the other things that come along with poverty. You know, but she always was like, you know what? Make sure that you look at people in the eye when you talk to them. You know, treat everyone with respect. Treat people the way that you wanted to be treated. You know, like, don't look at where you've come from,
Mama Santini,
and know that, like, it's not that bad. And that's always been my perspective on life. Even now, when, you know, I'm sitting here on deadline and I got, you know, clients that are barking down on me and breathing down my neck, thinking like, yo, is this gonna happen? And I could easily fold and break. But I just think back to those days when I was a kid. I'm like, it's not that
nothing
bad.
can break you.
Yeah,
Nothing
I mean,
can, man, you know, and it's just like, and it doesn't mean like I'm at work like reckless, but I'm just kind of like, at the end of the day, if it does, right? Say whatever, I'm doing a deal, falls apart, it's on me, whatever. I happen to get fired because of it, whatever, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I will always have that in the back of my mind, like, yo, man, I came from nothing, so it's not that bad.
What's wild to me is that in life, sometimes rock bottom is such a transformational experience. But like sometimes people have to hit rock bottom. Like I did 2 years ago, yeah? But I hit rock bottom. You literally crawled through rock bottom, right? So like, to be honest,
lived it for years.
Yeah, you literally crawled through. And that's a reference on since a little fucking baby before you could have walked through it, right? But you've literally elevated from rock bottom. So when you start at the bottom, where else can you go?
Nowhere.
Right? If something
The
if something befell upon you, right, and it crashed down again, and you hit rock bottom again in whatever point in life, the crazy shit is in knowing what that completely was, and also knowing that you're above all that. Whatever rock bottom may come, and knock on wood, semi-boner right now, I'm like tapping on my jeans, right? Knock on wood, it never happens, but if it does, you get it again.
I'd be ready for it.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, you know, like there's nothing that could be thrown my way that I'm just like, well, you know, when I was 21, I'm in college, right? Fast forward a little bit, ran in high school, got a scholarship. That's where I met the homie J-Dub. Shout out to J-Dub, Ridge Rollers for life.
What to do, lifestyle?
William Lifestyle, player. I'm sitting here at practice one day. I'm in best shape of my life, you know. I kind of like was doing my thing, and I start passing out at practice, like just straight up, just
really,
and
Just dropping.
dropping,
shit.
like I'm running, and I'm all of a sudden falling over mid practice. Yeah,
Just blackout.
yeah, and I was like, what's happening? And again, you know, I'm in the valley, so I'm like, maybe it's heat.
Wait, did it have to happen multiple times before something was there, or like did it
Oh,
off rip? It was like
It happened 3 times, and after the third time, I was like, this is not normal.
The coaches weren't like, wait, we just saw like somebody
Well,
run and just fall.
But I get it though. Like you've seen people like fall from track or long distance,
Yeah.
or just from.
I mean, I was a fat ass, so
No,
I was like
just,
nowhere near track.
When you're strenuous, you know, when you're putting that much strenuousness on your body and pushing real hard, you could pass out.
Yeah, no, it was, and again, like you're pushing. I mean, running is pushing your body, pushing the human limits of your body.
I'm
right?
John Candy in fucking Cool Running. I feel y'all.
Feel the rhythm, feel the ride. Get on up, it's bobsled time. Yo, shout out to Cool Runnings. But no, like that happens, you know. Like if it's like you were giving it everything you had, and so yeah, you probably passed out, whether it's from exhaustion, heat, whatever it was,
now
right?
I see
Yeah,
it,
heat
like,
stroke,
the third
whatever,
time-
yeah.
Heat stroke,
Thank
whatever.
God that the third time was a charm.
Yeah. First, second time, it was like middle of practice, like we're going at it, you know what I'm saying?
And you were
It's like-
kind of like, no, coach.
I was trying to beast mode
Yeah.
through it, you know? And I was like, man, what's wrong with me? And then the third time that actually happened was in a race. It was actually in a race.
Jesus.
And so they brought the medics out, and, you know, they
You
took
were
me to
Usain
the
blacked out.
Dude, straight up, like I was running, and all of a sudden I just remember being picked up off the side of the track.
So just it wasn't like it's coming, boom.
Wait,
It's just
hold
like
up. I'm sorry. So it just fell, and you just remember getting up.
I don't remember. Not me getting up, me getting put on a stretcher.
Were you like, what the fuck just happened, or where am I?
Yeah,
Like,
it was on some like,
that's terrifying.
you wake up, you're like, why are people looking? I open my eyes to people
Shocked.
hovering over my body like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay?
Oh,
and I'm just
wow.
like, okay, this is not normal. So I'm at the cardiologist getting EKG, and they're like, oh, you have atrial fibrillation. I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, oh, your heart
What
beats
was that?
irregularly.
What was that?
Atrial fibrillation. It means you have an irregular heartbeat.
Okay.
Your heart pumps too much blood, and you get blood clots. So I was getting blood clots, and because I was getting blood clots, I was passing out.
What the fuck?
So that was causing it all. So I had to go in and have a procedure. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait, why? What? Like, I'm in the best shape of my life, and this is happening. And it kind of like, it goes back to like another thing, right?
Whoa,
like,
what the fuck did they say? Like, what? How? It was it?
It was, they were just like, this is
genetic,
hereditary.
or-
Yeah, it's genetic. So I got another thing. I'm like, thanks, Pop. You know, you know, which like I got one more fun, exciting genetic thing that I inherited from my pop too. That I found out later in life, like 10 years later. But yeah, man. So now I'm sitting here. You know, I got this scar right here from the procedures that they did. So
What'd they do?
they had to go in, and essentially it's like they have to like open up your valves more so blood can pump through them. But I'm taking Coumadin, blood thinners, So blood can be thinner and not clot up.
Okay.
And essentially they're like, you can't run anymore.
Holy shit.
So I'm like, all right. So my last year of school, I actually didn't run. I had to sit out. I was done.
You got a scholarship for track.
Yeah,
right?
I got a scholarship for track. And
did your school?
yeah, I mean, it's a medical, it was my last year and that was that, all right, running's over now. So I'm just like, okay, what next? And it's not like I was going to go pro or anything.
Yeah.
My sister did, which was dope. But,
Lit.
I knew it was like something to do,
Yeah.
but still just like,
How scary was that for you?
Bro, it was-
because I get it in track, but like, were you like, damn, like
In life,
Doc,
bro.
What does this mean for me day to day?
bro, do you understand what it's like being 21 and you're sitting in the cardiologist's office with everyone who's at least 50 plus looking at you like, what are you doing in here? You look like a healthy,
Jesus.
able-bodied young man, which I was, and I'm in the cardiologist, like having blood work done, having EKGs, all these things strapped up, tests, and I'm just like, why? Like it's just like the common theme in my life sometimes is always because I grew up in the youth group, I'd always kind of question God, like, why, man? Like, you've already put me through so much, and now this.
Let me live real
yeah,
quick?
man.
Well,
Like,
what's crazy is that also you can't plan for shit, right? That's another thing is like we get often caught up in planning for your future, planning for what you want to be, or chasing your aspirations, and then boom, life happens.
Yeah.
And that's beyond your control. It's like you can come into this world one certain way, but once you're in here, tomorrow can bring something completely different. Like it's wild how you just can't plan for shit.
you can't, and that was the thing. So like, I was like mad depressed, after that, because it's like, man, like I'm seeing my teammates, they're doing their thing. I can't run anymore. I'm pretty much like, they're like, you will never be able to competitively run again. Like, to put your body through this type of stress, your heart to this type of stress, you're going to get blood clots again. And this is going to continue to happen. So, and at some point it could be, you could die. So I'm like, okay, this sucks. But again, it's just kind of one of those where I'm like, man, life just gives me L's, life gives me lemons, but I always happen to make lemonade. And the cool part was, because of that, and I wasn't running anymore, I started working. I had to get a job, because the cool part was, school was cool. They took care of my schooling, but it's like, when you're on a full scholarship, like they take care of everything. Your housing, books, you get like a allowance for like, food, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get taken care of. So they're like, yeah, we'll take care of your school, but we can't give you the extra stuff anymore. So I had to get a job. My last year of school, got a job, and I was interning through college, intern at Fox Sports, intern at the Tennis Channel, because I wanted to do communications. I wanted to work in journalism and broadcast journalism, sports in some capacity. So I did that. But then my brother, who at this point was already kind of heavily involved in an after-school program, shout out to After School All-Stars, he was like, hey, man, do you want to work, at the program? Part-time, and then when you finish school, you can get a job full-time. So I was working through college part-time at this after-school program.
Yeah.
And it was cool because, again, the after-school program was in kind of inner-city schools, underprivileged kids. The whole thing was servicing kids after school so they'd stay out of trouble.
It's so crazy to think that, like, your life prepared you for that.
It did, So I'm talking to these
you had
kids.
a profound empathy and, like, whether you're older talking to a youngin', because sometimes, like, I'm even getting to the point now, right? Like, like when I was younger, it was like, oh shit, like he's saying some profound shit. But now, even when I see, like, when the older cats used to tell me shit, even when I'm talking to youngsters, like, I'm only gonna give you a perspective, nothing right or wrong. Like, I'm not gonna shun you or whatever. But I also know that I'm like talking to you, and it like may not register yet.
Yeah.
But the intention's always there.
Yeah.
And with you, like, your life, which you had no choice over, right, actually prepared you to be in a position where you chopping it with these youngsters that you also know, yo, you're here because your life, you had no choice over either, and we're the same.
Yeah,
So let me just alleviate that, or let you know that people like us exist.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in this after-school program because you come from a single parent home. Your mom's working, and they don't want you running the streets. So they have assigned you up for this program to be somewhere between the hours of 3 and 6.
That did that.
And so now I'm here talking to these kids, and, slowly I'm opening up to them. And I think that was kind of the point that allowed me to start telling people kind of my background. It started with kids because I'm like, these kids are strangers. They don't know me. I'll probably never see them again.
Yeah.
You know, it's always
And they're
easy.
like your little brother.
Yeah.
That you never had.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm almost like trying to school them and tell them like what not to do, what
Yeah.
to stay away from, but also tell them like, look, man, you can make it. I've made it so far. I got out. I went to college. You know, I'm working at Fox Sports as an intern. I'm, you know, interviewing Kobe and Shaq during the Laker Golden Era, which is dope. And I'm just trying to give these kids hope.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you can make it.
It's
I made it.
possible.
It's possible.
No,
You know?
I wanted to bring up something, you know, kind of
Your
going.
voice is so silky. I fucking love you, dog.
I got
Bring
a
up
cold.
something
I got a cold.
Bring up no. That's a compliment. I get you got a cold. Don't bring up your nasaliness. I said your voice is silky. Now back to the program.
So here's the thing, because something I wanted to touch on. You know, you've already had such a hard life in a lot of people's eyes, right? How do you deal, especially coming out of the heart issue?
Yeah.
How do you actually deal with the depression or the hopelessness and know to fight through those nights and pull it and put yourself out there? Because I bring it up when you talk to kids who might be feeling that, or people that you want to inspire. How'd you do it to yourself? Because it's so easy to kind of shit on yourself. It's so easy to find other outlets like drugs or alcohol, or just saying, you know, fuck this, life gave me these L's, so I'm just going to live like my life's an L and fuck the world. I'm not going to even try because fuck it. I'm going to try, and boom, here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one.
I'm cursed.
It's so easy. I'm just going to do this and, you know, fuck it. Fuck my life.
Yeah.
You know, how do you, and that's what you get when you're in depression.
Yeah.
You know, how do you fight through that?
Honestly, man, I'm a talker. Anyone who knows me, like I love talking to people, and I'd find people who I trusted, who I felt like wouldn't judge me and wouldn't look down on me for my circumstances and situation. And I would just talk to them, man, like straight up. Like I mentioned, you know, like in high school, it was a lot of my people in my youth group, like my youth pastor and some of the other you know, college age dudes who were in the program, like who kind of were mentoring young kids. So I got to talk to them a lot and just open up to them. Certain friends who I knew I could trust and like knew wouldn't judge me and knew kind of wouldn't look at me differently. Mm-hmm. And then like my mom, man, my mom was always kind of like my biggest supporter and was like, look, doesn't matter where you come from, it's where you're going. She would always kind of pull me out of the rut. You know, I'm a mama's boy straight up. I have no qualms admitting that.
Yeah.
And I would always call my mom, you know, and I would talk when I was in college, man, me and my mom would talk hours on the phone. Or I'd come home and we just kind of hang out. And she would kind of get me out of that rut because I would look at her and I'm like, if she's not really messed up, then I can't be, because I haven't gone through half the stuff that she went through. So a lot of it was just kind of looking around me for inspiration and kind of just realizing that as bad as it is, it could be worse, and be like, always look at the positive and not the negative. And I think that was kind of, it kept me away from those depressed thoughts and really kind of getting down on myself. I'm an optimist by nature because of just I had to live that way, you know, because I've always had to tell myself like it'll change, and it did progressively, you know, growing up. But I think that was just kind of my biggest strength, was just knowing that if I got depressed, if I kind of was like fuck the world, then I'd be worse than I was already. You know, and I don't know, I just kind of kept it pushing, man. Like I always had that I had grit where I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this shit stop me. You know, like,
it's insane to hear you say that, because like, and I'm bringing this up for contrast, right? Because I look at you and like, I've always looked up to you, but I've always looked up to you from the standpoint of like, that's my big bro, that's my G, but I know we're very similar, right? And it's wild that, and this is just to like accentuate the fact that things can be so similar and so different at the same time, because you were able to navigate certain people in your life that you can express freely to certain like friends that you can express it to, and then moms, right? I was the golden child, got a scholarship for academics, was always a loud, rambunctious one, grew up with parents that said, get good grades, I don't care what you do, and I'm always going to beat the system.
Yeah.
Right? But even in my time in working in music, and even in my time when I was having to like literally bridge the relationship between you and Azad.
Yeah.
Right? Already having a relationship with you, just that like you looked at me as little homie that came around that had this personality. But it's wild for me because I had so many worlds on my shoulder, and I had a function, and the biggest one, even though whatever role I had, the biggest one was to make sure that whoever I was like working with literally felt that they could do it, even when I was wondering, where the fuck am I, right? And I only had really one person that I was ever bold enough or scared enough to confide in, because he confided in me, and it was AJ Roland, right? And it was beautiful for me to be comfortable with him because he's like keys to the city.
Yeah.
But him and I used to literally talk about like what we're going through, all this and that. Like he was open with me of like, yo, I'm seeing this psychologist. It's really helping me. I'm doing this, this, and this. And I was like, bro, like I just don't have the money for it. And he's like, look, like talk to her, and like if you want to see her, she'll work it out. And like he made me understand that it was like okay to talk about it. But the biggest thing for me was I was so scared to talk about it because I was like, what if I'm not as good as everybody thinks I am? What if like they see me differently? What am I fronting? Right?
Yeah.
I couldn't even talk to Dub about this shit. Now me and Dub like have this relationship, but AJ was the only one, and I only kept that to like a minimum.
Yeah.
Right? Even David, Azad, all them, I could never bring it up because I was like, I don't want to lose value, but I also know that you need me, right? But then towards the end, it was, I also know I don't want this.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't able to make a choice, but it's scary and it's beautiful in what comes from being able to be vulnerable.
Yeah, man. I mean,
because there's a comfort in that for the listener and for the speaker. Because somebody that listens to somebody be vulnerable, right, feels like it's an honor that you're that close to get that deep. Like I got a text from B Wade the other night, and he literally just voiced something to me that was so profound and so vulnerable, and I like. Think of it, for a man or somebody to be able to express something to you, right? And thinking about it, you're like, damn, like I'd be scared to say that, right? But now I'm not.
Yeah.
Because we've been through life. But at a point, we'd be scared to say that, to expose ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
man.
But I looked at it and I was like, I'm so happy you did that. And it just goes to show the beauty of vulnerability in our lives, because I feel like there's going to be an apex in life when we're just all able to be open with one another. The beauty of this platform is that we literally get to speak us. Like, understand that, like, listening to your story, my G, is the most beautiful fucking thing on this planet Earth to me, right? Because it's life on canvas.
It is, and there's no real direction for the art, for the painter who's painting it. You know, he's kind of just stroking the brush as whatever happens and kind of illustrating what is in real time. And I will say that, you know, what you said is something that I struggle with and dealt with a lot, was being open to people, because I never wanted to be vulnerable.
I was so open, but I was so closed, dog.
I let people in, but not enough.
I was speaking to me through you, and I was just trying to get myself to believe it. Me speaking to me through you was helping you, right? But I still couldn't believe it yet in me. And I'm literally screaming, I'm helping everybody. Who the fuck is talking to me, dog?
Well, and going back to what you said, like, I mean, that was the number one thing that helped you get through that. It was actually talking to people.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for everyone. I think, like, otherwise this shit really does eat you up.
It does, man.
Whether it's like, you know, That's why I hate, I mean, this is going a little off topic, but like, that's why I hate the fucking stigma with therapists. Like when people say like, oh, you know, I go to a therapist. It's like
people look at you like, oh,
yeah, like
what's wrong with you?
Like, how hard is it to tell someone that you go see a therapist?
Yeah.
It's like, it's so like
so taboo.
It's so taboo.
Hush,
it's
like,
looked down upon. Where you're like, fucking everybody in the world should probably
it's
do
good
that.
for you. Like,
But a therapist
and-
is the only person that's an objective listener.
Yeah, I mean, and probably like you can share this stuff with your peers or family or friends, but it's
If y'all are open enough.
Oh, if you guys are open enough, but you realize, going back to what you were saying, is that, you know, what got you through those moments was finally being vulnerable, talking about your experiences, and then segueing now to working with the kids. Now you have a relatability with youth and sharing not only your experiences, but projecting this. Well, not projecting, but sharing this with the youth and inspiring them.
Yeah, man, and it's important, man. It's like I've always wanted to have that ability to give back because it took me a while to get to that point.
Yeah,
and even then, it was kind of like it was situational, right? I would tell certain people certain things, and that's it. That's all you got. And then I'd tell other people certain things. So it's almost kind of like I was unloading my baggage in different ways that I'm like, yo. Yeah, you get this piece, you get this piece, and you get that piece.
How much of a weight is that to hold, though?
Bro,
like, imagine, like, honesty, you're just there. Like, it's hard to get there, but you're there. But then the weight of setting it up, you literally have to be tactical and different with every select group.
Yeah, man.
So, like, we think about, like, vulnerability and shit, like, I hope they don't find out, with such pain, but our solution is way more fucking painful than
trying to mask it, right? Trying to mask it instead of just telling people, you know. But I think it's insecurity, man. Everyone deals with insecurity. Like people look at me and they're always like, man, you're so confident. You walk into rooms and you just like kill presentations and shit, and like, you know,
talk
you
to him,
move to New York, and you know you working with massive blue chip Fortune 500 companies, like, and I'm like, yo, you have no idea, like, what I've had to carry inside my whole life, like this fear and insecurity that I was never good enough. I was never smart enough. I was never supposed to be there, you know? So I always had that. As much as I was confident, I was also scared. And I was also just like, man, like, I shouldn't be here. And I kind of doubt myself a lot, and I'd have to kind of like talk myself up and convince myself that I do belong.
What was the moment that you believed it?
The moment that I believed it,
because like running, like, this is the beauty of it. And shout out to James Owens, one of my professors at USC. I literally teared up, like, responding to something he said to me the other day, because like he told me, like, I have such natural gifts, and in the crop of SC, like, I'm at the top, but if I get in the real world and only rely on my natural strengths, right? So for me, it was I'm naturally like strong, right? And I just want to keep that, but like I'm not gonna like overexert myself. For you, it was like motherfuckers are gonna know Little Robbie's gonna be heard. Right? And I'm gonna fucking become something really special. Y'all just don't know it yet. Right?
Yeah, man. I mean,
it's the same weight being carried. But you have to rise up to the moment. I understood what he said is if you only put a little bit of effort into the structure that you need and also refining your talents, right, you'll be a monster, right? That concept is clear. I actually started applying it 6 years later. Right? And I hit him, and I was like, we spoke about this. We knew. I'm actually tearing up writing about this, but now is when the tools are being utilized. I felt average for a long time, and now I don't. Right?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I still, in my mind, don't believe that I've gotten there yet. As successful as I've been, you know.
But can I take the humble horse away? Just in an instant, right? Like if we're being bare. Right? If there was even a humble horse there, right? That's just for show. It's a Kentucky Derby, bitch. But look. There's a reason why you're able to maintain and continue to progress in what you're doing now, right? If it was still only running scared, right? Like Casey Affleck in Gone Girl.
Yeah.
God damn, I'm on right now. you wouldn't be able to literally materialize, internalize, and accept what you're doing. It'd be constant pressure, and you literally just be keeping up. There was a moment where keeping up switched into owning up. And what owning up means is that everything that you've been through, and we still haven't got there yet, God damn it, right? But owning up to where you've gotten to becomes, it's your world now. Right?
Yeah.
You may be scared. There may be things in your life, but what was that point? When was that? And then we'll double back. But when was that point where it was own up? Because everybody's scared of something, right? But there's a difference between being scared, right, and having to literally be accepted for what you're seen as and like appreciate the role. And being scared, but knowing that what you've been through, you're fearless, but now your fearlessness is being applied, and now your application is letting you thrive, right? Your fears are different, right? But there's an ownership point. When, like, even if you don't know that moment, but like, when do you think that was?
Bro, it's funny because, I mean, indirectly, you were a part of it.
Oh.
Helping me move, but it was to make that decision to leave everything I know and love in Los Angeles and move to New York City 2.5 years ago.
I literally drove to your crib. Let me tell you a story. I drove to your crib. My registration was expired almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
My car was so hot, it was ridiculous. I was broken then, right?
He was riding dirty.
No, but look, I parked in your garage, but then there was also a time I parked in the street. Know this, I pulled my trunk up. I took a towel out from the car. I literally put it over my license plate and closed the trunk as if just a towel was like hanging off just to fucking not show my expired tags and show up to no car. But that's how much love we had then.
I appreciate it.
But never needed to expose
the riding dirty. But yeah, man, it was leaving my comfort zone in New York because, you know, up until that point, you know, after I graduated college, I kind of did a bunch of, you know, kind of odd jobs. I was trying to find my way. You know, I moved to Chicago for a year, did event marketing, was setting up sports stuff.
Let's go through that because we're gonna get to the point where he moved to New York.
Yeah.
Now we marked that, right?
All right. Yeah.
Now, since you brought up your couple jobs and all that,
Yeah.
You know, no. But now let's go to the couple jobs because Juan Roberto, right, was doing track, couldn't do it for the last year. Graduated, went to the youth program, right?
Yeah.
And then where was it after that?
Yo, so I met this dude, Ian Connor, shout out to him, who put me in touch with the guy who was like, hey, man, you seem like you like sports and you're into kind of, you know, you're a very sociable person and talkative. Like, there's this job that on the weekends, you go down to Home Depot Center and you set up some soccer goals and stuff. And, you know, it's just like event marketing. And that was kind of my first taste of kind of getting out and interacting with people. And I was a dude rolling up the field turf, blowing up the little inflatable soccer kick, you know, putting on the polo, making sure staff had all their stuff on point. And I was like, yo, this is cool. I did that for a year. And then that turned into a full-time position. So I finished college in 2004, did that for a year in 2005. And that dude who I worked with at that company, Experiencia, offered me.
I love how you hit the Latin flair.
Oh, you have to, man. You hit him with the flavor. You know what I'm saying?
We were talking about the arroz, right? And then he hit the experiencia.
Yeah, you know, you got to hit the accent. And they were like, yo, this is a great opportunity, but you got to move to Chicago. And I was like, okay, all right, you know, like, sure, let's do it. So I go to Chicago, hence why people sometimes trip out why I have a 312 area code. That's why. Chicago. You know, I've had that number since 2005.
Nice.
So
wait, did I never know? Hold on. Did I never know that? We're not friends. Hold on. Did I never know
well,
that?
you just, it's in there. 312 30. I'm not going to get my phone. I caught myself there.
Okay. No, hold on. No, but shout out to this. Like, we're brothers, but like, another thing that I did not know. This is the beauty of this shit. Let's go. Shout out to the 312,
Shout out to the Shy, man.
What was that like making the decision to go to Chicago, being, you know, born, bred, and raised in LA, and knowing this is your world. Now you're going to the Windy City.
Ooh.
That was honestly, it wasn't as scary because you know, technically it was like I was based in Chicago. I had a little spot, but I was pretty much on the road that whole year. I was essentially setting up the Mexican national team friendlies leading up to the World Cup in 2006. So home base was Chicago, so I had to go there. I had to go to training.
Yeah.
I have this is.
You wish there was Airbnb because you would have.
Oh yeah, I would have straight Airbnb like a little room somewhere.
Yeah.
But I had to go. Part of the reason going to Chicago was I had to go through formal training because our client was McDonald's.
Okay.
So I have my college degree, and then I have a degree from HU, and that's not Harvard University. That's Hamburger University, because if you work, this is some real shit.
Ronald!
If you work
Are you serious, bro?
If you work on any piece of McDonald's business, like seriously, you at one point have to go to Oak Brook, Illinois, where McDonald's is headquartered. And you have to go through training, and you get your certificate from HU, Hamburger University. So
does Ronald hand you your diploma?
Nah, he didn't. I wish he did though.
I would have.
What is that training, bro?
It's just you learn. I mean, it's like I might get sniped if like I tell you too much of what I learned there, because it's one of those like
Jason Bourne, stay home.
No, but it's just
right.
learning.
Yo, you can make a big meme, a mean Big Mac.
Yeah, man. No, but it's just learning the brand. Yeah. Learning kind of all the
you being a total institution. If you're smart, you'll know what that is.
Yo,
hello,
man. But it's just it's just learning about the brand, learning the heritage and all the intricacies. Although that's when like my mind was blown, because that's when I found out before it was sold that McDonald's had owned Chipotle. Mm-hmm. And they're in the same compound. So I'm at Hamburger University. I'm like, what's Chipotle doing here? And like, oh, well, McDonald's owns Chipotle. And I was like, mind blown.
Glowed up.
Yeah. But, so I was based in Chicago. So it wasn't that hard because I was on the road and going to cool different cities. But then after that year was up, my boss there got a job at Weber Shandwick, which is one of the biggest PR firms in the country. And he got a vice president job, and he was like, yo, you want to come ride with me?
Now, how'd you like this world? Did you see – I want to bring it back here for 1 second. I worked with kids for many, many years.
Yeah.
I love working with kids. I share a lot of the same values and kind of experience you did.
Yeah.
Now, getting into more of using your degree in communications.
Yeah.
But you see your brother, who's a huge influence on you, work with the after-school programs, influence the youth. But now you're working with your degree.
Yeah.
How'd you enjoy those two worlds? Did you see, hey, like for the first time, do you see I can make a real career out of this?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't now just about making money.
Yeah.
It was versus like your youth of like, hey, I just got to make money.
Yeah.
Did you start shaping your career choices at this point?
Yeah. And the cool part was, obviously working with the kids was so enjoyable, and it gave me so much like passion and energy. But also the cool part about working with this experiential agency, this event marketing agency, was when we did these soccer programs, a lot of they brought in inner city kids to these events, right? We'd give them tickets to the games. We'd have these clinics. So like McDonald's would roll into town. We'd set up a whole activation. The Mexican national team would come out. And so if the game was on a Saturday, we'd come into town on like a Wednesday, and we'd have a soccer clinic on a Thursday. And we'd bring in kids from the inner city to meet the players. We'd give them tickets to the game. So there was still a part of me that was still kind of getting that fulfillment with working with kids and working with underprivileged youth through a marketing job. So I felt like I had the best of both worlds.
Awesome.
And because I was working with the Mexican national team, and because a lot of the programs, a lot of the cities we went into tapped into the underprivileged kids in those neighborhoods, a lot of them were of Hispanic descent, so I could also communicate to them in English and Spanish. So it allowed me to kind of explore both sides and kind of see which I wanted more. But then when I realized there's an opportunity to do both with the marketing gig, I decided to keep on going with it. And it was one of those things where one opportunity led to another opportunity that led to another opportunity. I didn't necessarily know that starting in the after-school program, I'd go into this next thing.
Sure.
I just kind of rode the wave. I've always been one of those people, like, if it feels right and I'm having fun doing it, just keep going.
And still using those skills.
Exactly. So that's pretty much what happened. I I didn't feel like I had to make a choice.
Yeah. Like you're not out there like slanging your resume to try to find like your communications gig or your marketing gig. It just was a natural kind of development.
Yeah, this is gonna sound crazy, but I have never like formally applied for a job.
That actually is very crazy.
Like when I came out of college, my brother like plugged me right into the after school program. I mean, I had to like for intensive purposes like type up a resume. Mm-hmm. I have a resume, I've used it for every single job, but like I've always had a job, and then because of that job and what I do there, someone else has come calling and like been like, hey, we noticed that you have a unique skill in this. We'd like for you to come work for us. Mm-hmm. So I've never like kind of had to go through the process of like slanging my resume to everyone trying to get an interview. It was always like I start with a job, and every single thing after that has led to another job. So the after school program led to the Experiencia job. My boss at Experiencia got hired at Weber Shandwick, and he was like, you're coming with me. And so essentially like, I met with the HR person, but it wasn't like I was being grilled. It was like, hey,
well, it wasn't like you were on monster.com and saw this like,
I wasn't like, oh, look at this job.
Weber,
Let me apply for it and just like submit my resume and hopefully I get a call back. It was always like, I've been fortunate that people have always seen skills and talents in me. They're like, hey, you could use this here. If you want it, it's there for it taken. So that was always a great opportunity for me and like a cool stepping stone that I would always say, okay, I'm going to take whatever opportunity has been provided to me, maximize it, kill it, and then hopefully that'll lead to something else.
Well, and that's a great point where you say maximizing and killing it, because going to Weber now, which is big firm. Yeah, huge.
Talking about intimidating. Like going into that place, coming from where I come from, at this point, I'm not the Rob I am today. I'm timid. I'm shy. I'm not trying to tell anybody anything about me. I'm being as selective with information I'm disclosing as possible, because at this point, I don't want to give anybody any ammo to try to tear me down or tell me I'm not good enough.
Are you boxed in or are you strategizing?
No, I'm strategizing. I'm trying to manipulate each situation so I'm not putting myself in a corner. I don't allow people to get close enough. I always kind of divert.
Kind of going back to your childhood days, my man.
It really is. Like that was
like protecting that identity.
It is, man. And it's always like, I always felt like I was like sticking and moving, just like hit them real quick and move out the way.
And also like to double down on that, because you're stepping into this environment that's, very competitive, academically. Also, people coming in a more traditional route. You're being brought in under the wing. Like you kind of got the fast track.
I'm already getting the side eye. Like, who's this dude who got backdoored into this job? Right?
So, it's Latino.
Yeah. Who's this dude who doesn't deserve to be here? Who's here? Yeah.
You got the HU stamp though, dog.
Hey man, I tell you, I got 2 degrees.
Actually, man. I have a question with that too. Now that you brought it up, what was it like being Latin in this environment, or
Ronald and being Latin?
well, no. I mean, Experiencia. It was an asset.
Wait, hold on. What was that?
Being with Experiencia.
Hey, silky.
That's super silk.
Yo, I was just at the Latin Grammys, dog. Don't even worry.
He's red velvet to Vegas
in the flesh.
Yeah, but in that environment, I kind of want to just take a quick side track here. How that played a part in this time of your career, whether it was an asset or whether you felt like you had to work even harder to prove something.
Well, the beauty of that is, I get the job at Weber, come to find out that Weber has a multicultural arm called Access, which is...
It's not Accencia?
Nah, it's Access.
And if that even correlated, I don't know, but it just sounded lit.
They're under the Weber umbrella.
Got it.
And all of a sudden, they're like, wait, hold up. You speak Spanish? Oh, come on over here. You're going to roll with us. So if anything, now I'm like, I went from being the shy, timid guy who was like, let me just do my job and not fuck up.
To Juan Roberto.
And all of a sudden, they're like, wait, hold up. And it's funny how all things happen. I was calling my mom, and I talked to my mom in Spanish. My mom can speak English, but I feel comfortable speaking to my mom in Spanish. Yeah. So, like most people, I'm in a cube, open air cube, And I go outside on my little cell phone, and I'm talking to my mom in Spanish, because she's asking me, she's like, mijo, how's work going? How's your first couple days? And I'm like, it's kind of intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I don't belong here. She always like, you belong there. You're there for a reason. She'd be like, that dude brought you there because he said that you could kill it there.
Yeah.
So just take that with you and run with it. And so mom was always gassing me up. She's always been my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
But because of that, I'm talking to my mom, and someone realizes that I speak Spanish. And they're like, oh, you speak Spanish? Come on over here, man.
Come with us. We've been looking for you.
So then I started working on multicultural business there, which is dope, using my language. And now I'm an asset. So now I'm doing stuff for Weber. I'm doing stuff for Access.
Awesome.
And now I'm like walking around like, yeah, I speak Spanish. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Because, you don't want to, you want to fit in. You want to be normal, and.
But let me ask you this. And let's look back at.
Oh, no. I saw the smoke. It just looked cool.
Let's look back. Mind you, and that was a perfect thing because I'm smoking cigarettes like an asshole right now because I've decided on this podcast that this is becoming one of my favorites to date. Yeah. But I don't want to interrupt anything, so I'm going to be an asshole in my home and smoke cigarettes at the table, but I've already gotten their blessing.
Oh, no, it's totally fine.
Looking back at that time,
yeah,
right? That ownership at that time, right? So many people try and be humble or don't want to be the person that I don't want to make anybody feel anything.
Yeah,
right.
That was always me. I always wanted to please people. Yes. I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. Yes, I always wanted to just kind of fit in, blend in. Blend in my way of I was loud, but I was like, I don't want to rock the boat.
You wanted
too
to
much.
be accepted.
Yes,
right.
My whole life.
Imagine that phone call wasn't at that time. Imagine that person wasn't near you at that time. Who knows when the Latino would have been discovered?
I mean, I think eventually it would have because
But the point is this: that happened. Chance.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, they knew I worked at Experiencia, right? So they knew, but I don't think they knew to what degree.
Yes, they did, but it was a moment.
They knew your name was Juan Roberto.
No.
Yeah.
that was a moment.
Yeah.
Right? But then that moment took you internally, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But took you internally from I need to make sure I keep up.
Yeah.
To I'm an asset.
Yeah. No, it really
had
did.
value in that moment. Shout out to the fact that it was because of heritage.
Yeah.
And it was that's even more special.
Yeah.
But in that moment, your value
of course.
validated.
When people found out I spoke Spanish, we're going to put you on this account and that account. We're going to put you on the road. Oh, and you worked with kids before. We have this program called Planning for Life where you're going to go talk to kids in Puerto Rico, and you're the only dude that speaks Spanish on this program, so you're going to go. So I was like, cool.
How was that for you? Take us through that journey right there.
Man, it was beautiful because, again, it was me gaining more confidence and just being able to be more comfortable in my skin and comfortable in my surroundings and kind of one more thing that I didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just doors started opening up. I started meeting people.
Let's walk through them.
And it's all because of this ability, this skill that I had, The Nintendo team that we shared, I worked on Nintendo, launched the Nintendo Wii. I had a soccer game, Mario Strikers Charged. And they're like, soccer? Wait, didn't you work in soccer before at Experiencia? Didn't you work with the Mexican national team? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, actually, we're looking for an activation to do in Southern California that is going to cater to the Hispanic market. I'm like, yo, I did event marketing for Chivas USA at the Home Depot Center. I know those dudes. Pick up the phone, call the head of marketing for Chivas USA. I'm like, yo, I got my client. They got this game. Next thing you know, we're on the field at Home Depot Center with the players playing the game on the Jumbotron because I was able to take my skill and flip it and apply it to a need that my clients were trying to service. And I was just like, yo, I can get you in there. I came from that world. And so once I started realizing, I couldn't have planned that. I started realizing that I was like, man, I can leverage all of these experiences and opportunities that have been given to me.
We went from possibility to leverage,
and it just kind of went off from there, So after my time at Weber, it was cool. I started doing the video game thing. Ended up at Konami with the homie B Cox. Shout out Brian. Shout out Brandon Cox.
Mr. Cox. Hey, shout out to your jorts though.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
We
Back
bring
to the
him
jorts, man. He hating on the jorts, but I made him a believer.
Yeah,
He rocks. He's got
And
a couple
low-key-
pair.
No, and he'll low key rock them with like just straight like standard low cut like Chucks.
Oh, yeah.
and show his calves off. Now.
Go through the gram. You'll see B Cox
Yeah.
all rocking jorts with the chucks.
And if you know Big B Cox, he like big body, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then like shout out to his like I'll see you in Silver Lake with your jorts on and your like fluorescent Chuckies on. You feel me?
But yeah, man. So because of that, because I did a good job in the video game space with Nintendo at Axis and Weber. Konami brought me in. Great opportunity. I grew up playing Konami video games. People don't know like Frogger,
Yeah.
Castlevania,
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah.
like
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear is my shit.
all of these were
And that's like
Contra, up, left, the bro. So
You not bring Contra.
So when they were like, "Oh, you're gonna work on Konami," I was like, "Bro, I grew up on Konami games."
you were so passionate about it.
Bro, I was like, I have ideas. I started, and that's like,
just walking into the Konami building. If you've ever been there, like now,
haven't.
like you walk in and you just see like Snake from Metal
Bro,
Gear,
Snake is there just chilling in the lobby.
Just like life size, like solid thing of Snake.
Can we like take a trip to Konami?
I mean,
though? Like,
I don't work there anymore. Neither does B-Cox. I'm sure we still got some homies that might work there. That
But it must have been like for you, like it just must have been a dream walking.
Dude, it was
through
a
those
dream.
doors,
I remember,
yeah.
I remember the first day I called my brother because me and my brother used to play NES. We would play Contra and Castlevania all day. My mom would hide the controllers because we'd be playing Nintendo all night. And I was like, Los, I'm here, man. Like, yo, this shit is dope. They got a snake in the lobby. You know, like, it was just so cool, man. And I just remember that feeling of like, damn, this is dope. Like, I'm getting paid to work with video games.
wow.
You know, like, my job is to find ways to promote these games. And, you know, Konami had like new games that they were trying to put out, but, you know, it was like, the kid in me was like, let's tap into like the nostalgia factor. How can we take the games that were cool then and like put them on a downloadable content? So when you're on Xbox Live, you know, but it was just an opportunity that was really fulfilling because I had a natural passion for video games. I grew up my whole life playing video games. You know, like we had an NES system, I had a Sega, PlayStation, N64. Like I loved video games because, you know, I played sports and I played video games. It kept me out of trouble. Me and all my boys, we'd always play. Friday night, we'd have Mario Kart tournaments, you know, GoldenEye tournaments in high school. Like,
Hey, shout out to GoldenEye though. That's a staple.
bro, that PP7, man. Like, yo,
Don't
the
fuck with me,
OG game. You know, before there was Halo and Call of Duty, it was like GoldenEye was like the OG
100%.
game.
The OG game.
100.
The
When I used to have
first-person shooter.
sleepovers at the
Yeah, that's
crib,
the first-
like,
it was really-
multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was like, I'm like, man, you know, so when I got to Konami and I'm,
Were your ideas well received there? Because going in there as a youngster, right, coming from where you came from and then feeling that like, you know what, like I'm here.
yeah.
And then you have this opportunity and you're so passionate. Like the old heads are looking at the young Rob like, damn, like he actually lived it. He's our target consumer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he's activating this. But you're also in a big body corporation, right?
Yeah, man.
Everything isn't what it seems sometimes. But in that environment, was your enthusiasm and your ideas, were they well received? Or did you realize you needed to shut the fuck up at a certain point?
No, bro. From the second I walked in there, Hirano-san, president of Konami, I used to sit right outside of his office. My cube happened to be there. Wow. And I'm this loud, rambunctious dude, you know, like listening to Laker games in his cube, like, you know, just getting wild. But I was like, I'm going to go talk to him.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
like straight up. I'm like, he's the president.
Did it take you a while, or were you just like, fuck it?
I mean, at this point, it was kind of like the Weber experience and the Access experience had already kind of opened me up to like have no fear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen, right?
I'm not gonna get fired.
Someone tells me like, don't talk to him, and that's it, right? So I never had that fear of like, oh, like, why are you talking to the president of the company? I'm like, why not? I work here. I literally went up and introduced myself. I was like, hey, man, my name is Robert. I just started working here. I've been playing Konami games since I was a little kid. Like, it's a privilege, and I'm honored to be working here. Like, thank you for the opportunity. He was probably like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't hire me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But still, I think he saw that enthusiasm in me
Yeah.
and that passion. And we hit it off, and it was cool, man. Like, so like from the jump, I went in there and I was just like, I'm gonna walk the halls and let people know I'm the new guy who's got ideas. You might think I'm crazy. You might think I'm asking you to do more work, but I'm excited to work here.
Yeah.
You know, and you're gonna know it. Like every day I went to work, I was like, I work at Konami. You know what I'm saying?
That
like,
shit.
And what's kind of cool is that you went from being a person who was protecting who you were, to now evolving to using who you really are, and
He's becoming.
who's becoming
Yeah.
of like, hey, this is me. I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
Because this is what I bring.
Y'all
I'm gonna
got
be
a Latin game you need me to promote?
I'm gonna be
really
loud.
dope with that.
we actually did.
It's like, but you're gonna be loud. You're gonna share your ideas. You're gonna go up and not have that fear. That must have been like a pivotal time, just kind of internally to finally be free in who you really are, and now out in the world.
Yeah. No, man, it was. And the cool part was, you know, they had a soccer game that rivaled like FIFA. Everyone always plays FIFA, but, you know, Konami had Pro Evolution Soccer, or Winning 11 if you're in Europe. And, of course, what is the biggest target who consumes soccer? The Hispanic market, right?
Yeah.
So there was this game show down in Mexico City, EGS, Electronic Game Show. It's kind of like their version of E3. If you've ever been to E3, it's like the big video game convention in LA once a year. So Mexico City had their own kind of little convention, and they were like, oh, Rob, you speak Spanish? Yes, I do, matter of fact. Guess who's going to EGS? Rob. And I was like, sweet. So me, B. Cox, and our boss Jay would go down there. But again, it was just another reinforcing opportunity and kind of moment where I was like, speaking Spanish is a freaking blessing. You know, like I'm the one guy that's like, yo, you're going to communicate with our team down in Mexico, and you're going to be the point guy because you speak Spanish, you know? So like every day more and more just gain confidence, because we'd be in meetings and I'm like, that's not how you market to Hispanic people.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, and
Spoke up though.
yeah, because I'm like, I'm sorry, like, yo, you're a white guy who's trying to speak to my people.
Todd, thank you.
You know?
like I appreciate your analytics. Todd.
No, but it's just like, I'm not to be like, you know, not to bring race into it, but it's like, yo, like I'm being honest. You know, like you're trying to market to the Hispanic community, and you're not Hispanic, and you're bringing the wrong insight. This is how you do it right. Trust me, I've done it. And I know the proper way to do it. And so being vocal about that allowed me just to gain more confidence.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was dope. Konami was an amazing experience. Like, you know, B. Cox to this day is my boy. You know, we met there and we've been riding ever since. But it's funny how, again, every opportunity takes you to another opportunity. B. Cox was best friends with a man who is my mentor, and to this day, he's my dude, Rick Jennings. Shout out to Rick Jennings.
What a dude,
out in Santa Monica, killing it. But he was working at PMK BNC. And Brandon was like, yo, man, I know that you like Konami and it's cool, but like, there's a bigger place for you. Like,
what made him say that? Like, what do you think? Like,
honestly, I think it was just like, because when you here's the difference.
We all have
between,
that guy in our lives,
yeah.
right?
I think it's like, I've worked at an agency, and the beauty about working at an agency is you work on different things, right? So when I worked at Weber and Access, I worked on Absolute Vodka, the U.S. Army, and Nintendo, right? I go to Konami, and I'm working on different games, but I'm only working on Konami as a brand, right? Mm-hmm. And me, being the ADHD kid that I am, I get bored.
Let it fucking shine, baby.
I get bored really easily. Yeah. If I'm not being stimulated, if it's like the same thing over and over again, I kind of like the thing that people love about me, like my passion and my energy, it starts to fade, because I'm like, I'm kind of doing the same thing over and over. Because like you work at a video game publisher every year, so it's like you launch Pro Evolution Soccer 2009, the next year Pro Evolution Soccer 2010. You know, every year you got to come out with a new game.
It's redundant.
It's redundant. And so I think he saw it in me that I was kind of getting a little bit like bored. And we were down at Comic-Con, and he was like, yo, you should meet my boy Rick Jennings. He's cool. He works at this dope agency, PMK BNC. They rep Jordan Brand and Beats by Dre and Activision and Call of Duty. I'm like, dude, that's like the motherland.
Yeah.
But then a little bit of insecurity starts setting in. I was like,
What was it?
I've heard of working in the PR world. That's funny. When I worked at Weber, they were on the 8th floor. We were on the 7th floor at the Pacific Design Center. So I knew the cats that were in there. I saw the types of stuff they were doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, everyone that works there is cool. Everyone that works there is so fly, that is so swaggy, and they work on all these dope accounts. And that little bit of self-doubt crept in. I was like, I don't know if I can cut it there.
But take me through. Like, I want to get intimate with your self-doubt. I actually, right, and I'm gonna pause myself here before I do it.
Anush is about to take your self-doubt on a romantic date right now.
I do, because I want to have a cigarette after sex with self-doubt right now. Okay? Take me through what that self-doubt was.
It's just like, what if it doesn't work out?
Okay.
What if you're not good enough that's like, to me, that's like the major leagues, right? Up until this point, like, and it's funny because even when you work in the marketing world, like, they always treat multicultural as like JV.
Got it.
Like general market, which
but like, I love that, because shout out to the point that, like, your multicultural made you feel like you were in the league.
Yeah.
And then the 8th floor, right, brought you back down to the freshman squad.
Yeah. I was like, I don't belong there. You know what I'm saying? Like, because mind you, I worked at a place like Weber and Access, but it was always like I worked on the multicultural accounts, which the budgets are lower. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you're speaking to just like, yo, go holler at Hispanic media, multicultural media. Like, I don't get to talk to the big news outlets because that's not our target. Go talk
the
to
white guys.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
was it like big fish, small pond kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what it was. Like that was the biggest of ponds in my eyes, right? Because when you like, we all know, like, if you're in fashion, like, if you're working at a small little magazine and like, yo, GQ is the mountaintop, right?
Yeah.
And if you're working at a small, like, your local, like, if you're the style guy for the
But
Santa
you're
Monica
always aspiring towards GQ.
You're aspiring to work there. But sometimes that self-doubt creeps in, like, do I have what it takes to be there, to get there?
Yeah.
And not just to get there, but to, like, actually make an impact there.
Okay.
And so that's just naturally, I was like, okay, I'm at Konami. I know my lane, right? I'm working in video games. I've worked in video games. This is comfortable for me. Yeah. I'm now having to go to a different.
So take us through the build with Rick to where it started becoming, because, like, understand this, I'm setting this up, right? This is your podcast, but I'm setting our moment up.
Word. Okay. So I talked to Rick while I'm at Comic-Con, still working at Konami, and he's just like, yo, he's kind of giving me the rundown, like, this is what PMK BNC is, this is who we represent, this is
your heart's racing.
This is what we expect,
You want it, but your heart's racing.
And I'm just like, I'm inside. I'm like, yes, I wear Jordans every day. Like, I got my first pair of J's in the 3rd grade.
And the vocal dude didn't have a word then, though.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like, I love J's. Like, I couldn't afford. I had one pair of Jordans from elementary school to college.
Which ones?
The Jordan 6s, infrareds, white. Bro, I remember like this was yesterday.
Talk to me, Rob.
I walked to Northridge Fashion Center, which is the mall in the Valley back in the day, and I had this Mickey Mouse denim jacket. I had the Canadian tuxedo. I was on denim.
You were Justin Timberlake at the VMAs.
Yeah, crisp white tee. And my white infrared J's. And I don't know if nowadays J's release on the weekends, but when you were in school, like growing up, J's released on a weekday.
My mom would never get me J's as a kid. So I always loved the 4s, and I have the 4s now.
There you go. But here's the crazy part, right? So the day I got my J's was the same day I was diagnosed with ADHD.
Goddamn.
So my mom was just like, this is shitty. You're going to be on medication now.
Hey, shout out to the police or ambulance sirens.
It always gets
this
serious.
Is that moment.
Yeah, always. Whenever they roll through, it's always serious.
Though, dog. Like, moments come. Yes, hear it.
Yo.
Now
it's gone. So the day that my mom took me to get my J's, I think she felt bad. It was because, I was having problems in school, and they were just like, yo, you're always wilding out. And so they went take me to go get diagnosed, and they're like, oh,
and
yeah.
you being the vocal fucking guy, like, they knew which Jordans you wanted. They knew that it was infra fucking red. You know what I'm saying? Whether you said it in Spanish or English, like, they knew.
I'm like, those right there.
Yeah.
So I get diagnosed. My mom's feeling bad. She takes me to the mall because I'd already taken half a day off of school to go to the doctor and do all that. And I remember that's like the swaggiest moment that I can remember in life. Like walking in to third grade, Mrs. Carroll's class. I even knew
Mrs. Carroll,
son.
Mrs. Carroll.
Yo,
he made it though.
I walked into class with that Mickey Mouse denim jacket, with my collar flipped up.
Oh, I feel you.
Denim on denim.
You were in sync before Lou Pearlman came in.
I was walking like this on my heels because I didn't want to crease my J's.
I respect it. I respect
but
it.
Yo,
and if y'all saw him, he literally had his palms down on the table and his fingers erect as God up. And literally,
and wrist down.
Yeah,
wrist down.
Making sure that those did not crease.
Miss Carroll,
but yeah, man. So collar pop. But all that to say, like, I love J's. Like, Jordan's was my favorite. Even though born and raised in L.A., Laker fan till I die.
Yeah.
It killed me because MJ beat the Lakers in Jordan 6s, infrared, the black joints. Always remember that when he did the one hand to the other hand over Magic, and I'm like, damn. But MJ was just so swaggy.
The photo, nobody got the autograph, but Michael still lit.
I know.
But yeah, man. So, so I've always loved Jordan's sneakers. I could never afford them as a kid, but I always had this like, I could tell you every single thing that Jordan did in certain sneakers.
Yeah.
So to get to have the opportunity, it hasn't happened yet, to work on Jordan brand, I was like salivating.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like,
Pavlov's around here.
But are you ready for it?
Ooh, hold on, Pavlov.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Opportunity was knocking.
Got it.
But I wasn't ready to open the door yet. So, Rick's telling me this. He's like, these are the accounts you'd work on.
So take us through it.
And it's funny.
Because you know what's crazy? You and correct me if I'm wrong. Now I go into assuming Nushi, right?
Yeah.
But it's assuming with an ear that's listen. And if I'm wrong, please tell me. You've been built up for this.
Yes.
You've actually caught your stride too, right? Your stride is taking you upwards.
Yeah.
Gold and promised land is introduced to you. It's all building up. Everything that you've wanted, right? Now in life, you're actually experiencing like, fuck, I want this. I know I want it. I know I could be good. I'm so scared of it.
Yeah.
Right? What the fuck if I'm not that? Like, what if I lose that? What if everything falls down? Like, imagine when, like, creators think of this. Everything you yearn for, you better know and work as hard as you can and just experience until whether you've broken or built back up or broken, if that opportunity you seek, like imagine the like beauty of when you get that op that you've been dying for, you're ready. Yeah. It's going to break you anyways, right?
Honestly, I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready. So, but no, this is beautiful because again, I'm literally painting the Sistine Chapel right now, and I'm saying fuck humble and appreciate this little fucking mosaic that we're going through.
All right.
Right? Because even in my little fucking like literally voiceover rants over myself, I'm in a fucking like literally Inception world. Where did the conversation go? You weren't ready. You knew that. You were going to get the job. You knew that, right? You were scared shitless. We all know that, right? But this wasn't going to be an opportunity that you missed. And whether you got lucky getting it or not, take us through getting this. Cause I want to literally, as if I'm a realtor for 21st century, y'all got a plug you shouldn't have, right?
Yo, plug Keller Williams, son. My sister works there.
So I'm an agent at Keller Williams, right? You're a brand new father. You just got your raise. You've been saving for a down, and you got a bonus that now you can get the down. I'm walking you to the door of your new house. You're still thinking about the tax on your crib, the mortgage, right? How you're going to be a good father, right? How you're going to be able to keep this, right? But you know your wife's happy and your kid should start here.
Yeah.
Yeah? You walked in the door. Now let's get to when you open the knob right, and walked in.
Well, I almost didn't walk in. That's the crazy part.
I know that, dog, but let's talk about it.
All right. So to set that up, after I finished talking to Rick, even in my mind, I was like, okay, I know video games inside and out, right? I've been working in the space for a couple years. I know all the media that cover games and everything. There was a level of comfort that I knew working at Konami that I was like, no one could tell me that I'm not doing my job well because I know my job inside and out.
Yeah.
PMK BNC was like, I knew what they were doing there, but I wasn't sure if I could hack it there because I was like, I can hack the video game stuff, but I'm not necessarily sure if like I'm biting off more than I could chew because now this is like the stakes are higher, the expectations are high.
Mind you, you wanted to chew that Wagyu beef, right? But when somebody brought the plate to you, you were still thinking, am I worthy of it?
Exactly. That's what it was. And so it took me a little while. And so he was like, all right, man, I know you're down in San Diego for Comic-Con. Like when you get back, holler at me and we'll continue this conversation. So I was okay. So I'm, thinking, I'm calling my brother on the drive back from San Diego. And I'm like, look, man, like there's this opportunity. It's to work on Jordan Brand and Call of Duty and Beats by Dre. And I don't know if I'm ready for it. I'm just self-doubt was creeping. I'm like, why?
Tell me where Dad came in, dog.
Yo, and he was just like, he was like, what do you mean? He was like, look in your closet. What do you see? Jordan sneakers. What's on top of your entertainment center? An Xbox or a PlayStation? What are you playing? Call of Duty.
I suck at Call of Duty.
They might not be Beats headphones, but what do you love more than sports? Music. Why wouldn't you be ready for this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he gassed me up so much, and I was like,
Lowe's,
you're right.
Lowe's.
Lowe's. He was like, no one knows video games, sneakers, and music better than you do, because that's all you've spent your life like consuming and just kind of immersing yourself in. And so I remember getting back, and I called Rick when I got there. I was like, hey man, like I'm ready to meet. So I'm actually taking the day off because I'm back from San Diego, and they let us have, just a little day in between Comic-Con. And he's like, cool, well, I live in Santa Monica. And I was like, I do too. And he's like, there's a Coffee Bean on 10th and Wilshire. Like, I'll just meet you there. We'll meet before I go to work in the morning, and we'll just talk. So in my head, I'm like, do I wear a pair of J's or show them that I like J's? So I was like, yeah, fuck it. So
100%, yeah.
Do want some J's. Space Jams back in the day. Since 2011.
They brought them back recently, though.
They just brought them back.
Yeah, I see a lot of influencers posting about it.
Yeah, man. And so we're talking, and he just, it's funny because the conversation from San Diego to now, because I think he realized, okay, like now this is an interview. This is a straight up interview. He's like, yo, man, I need you to come in, bring your resume. And he just kind of starts grilling me. And I'm just like firing, like my brother gassed me up with 91, bro. Like I know 87, no 89, 91. So I'm walking in there just like, I deserve to work here, And so I'm just
owned it.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm like, dude, I did this. I got this many J's. I know all about Jordan Brand, and Beats by Dre. Like I told him about the Chronic and how I was flipping Chronic tapes, Dr. Dre's tapes. I'm like, I should work with Beats by Dre. Like I can represent that brand. I know who Dre is. I grew up on Dre. I'm from the West Coast,
Yeah, that's right.
Just like that swag, that confidence started coming out. And he was like, all right, I got to talk to my boss now. Like, but everything seems like you'd be a perfect fit. So I was like, cool. So, and I think there's something about being like in a normal coffee shop and not being at a place like the Pacific Design Center. But then he's like, can you come in tomorrow and meet with my boss? And I was like, sure.
You know what's wild, though? I think there's something about being able to call your brother, right? Los, understand how special this shit is. I'm talking to you. Whether you listen or not, I'm talking to you right now. Let's say Webb's was on 7 and PMK was on 36. In the penthouse, that 36 was really 31 through 36.
Yeah.
Right? They're just bold enough to call it the top. Nuclear. Right? But fuck everything else, right? Your brother.
Always there for me.
No, but look. This is the beauty of it. And again, like the Sistine is being painted right now. right? Like in this podcast with my big bro, I'm not going to be humble and I'm going to like braggadocio, but like that's because of the beauty of the story. Yeah. Is that call was made. You went, look, understand this. Now we bring it back. The tsunami is hitting, right? You went from opportunity, trying to keep up, culture, heritage, who you really are, right? Appreciate it. Starting to really come into your own. Knowing that there's upper echelons and knowing in your mind that you're ready, right? Through a relationship that's not just like work and network for all you kiddies that want to break bread for no reason, right? Through relationship, you literally got handed a seat at a dinner table, right? With somebody that literally said, this home one day could be yours.
Yeah.
Right? The beauty is, and the honesty of the scenario is, you went from high to literally low. And the high to low was your confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine the beauty of that being, you were meant to be here, you did great work, right? And the moment that you had the shot at getting to where you've wanted to go, your literally self-confidence drops, right? The magnitude of what we dream about, that's why we always say the actualization or implementation is a lot different than the speak of it. Yeah. Because you said earlier, you're a gritty motherfucker, yeah? Mm-hmm. But the biggest blessing in this instant is when that moment came before that phone call to Los. I'm talking to you again. When that phone call to Los was made, right, he literally, not only was he your big bro, but he also assumed the father figure, and you knew that.
Yeah.
You were a springboard of ideas to him, and he was always suavemente, but he told you something very honest. He said, look at yourself. Look at what you've done. Look at what you love, right? Do not, like what he ultimately said, and I'm literally like saying everything he didn't verbally say, but everything you've done is literally guiding you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Believe it.
Yeah.
And that convo was what led you there to literally just shadow box with Floyd. Nuclear. Right?
Yeah, man.
And you got it.
Nuclear.
So now, literally, door opened. Mr. Santini, welcome home.
Yeah, man. It's been my home for the last 5.5 years.
So bam, boom. He brought 5.5 years up. Now I'm going to run it back. You get in. Talk to us.
So the funny part is like his boss, right? So after I killed my interview with him, he's like, you got to talk to my boss. And I go in, you know, and again, and it's like I had the confidence talking to Rick at the Coffee Bean because we're at the Coffee Bean, but now like I'm back at the Pacific Design Center. I'm going upstairs, the PMK BNC, the swaggy
levels,
the swaggy spot, and I'm sitting there at reception. I got my little pamphlet with my resume in it, and she comes out, and I tell that she's like doesn't have a lot of time. And we're in this like little side conference room. It's fun. We just moved offices, but like there's this little.
Everything is unsexy.
Yeah, it's not. There's no windows. It's like it was like a holding room. Yeah. And there's a couch. It's not even like a table. Most interviews you go to, you sit at a table across from.
Sure.
We're on a couch.
A semblance of comfort.
We're on a couch. She sits next to me. I hand her my resume.
To the side?
Doesn't even look at me.
Oh, my God.
Rolls it up like a baton.
Oh, my God.
And just sits there. She goes, why should I hire you?
Woo!
Thuggin'.
Wake up, Juan Roberto.
Bro, that is a thuggy question.
Wake up.
Like, I was not ready for that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's going to ask me about, you know.
So,
tell me about your past experience. Dude. Why are you qualified? Just straight look me in the eyes.
What's her name?
Monica Chung. Shout out to Monica
Chung. Monica, you're a thug for that.
I love her,
she
man.
Came in
honestly.
like the Don
Monica.
Dada. Came in like the Don Dada.
The Don Dada.
Yo, rolled
Monica,
up.
I literally, hold on. This is how I feel about you, Monica.
Knew she's honestly praying right now.
She's the real deal Holyfield, man.
Wow, that's a huge question.
And literally, I mean, could you imagine, like, all of a sudden, all the swagger goes out the door. I start, my palms start getting sweaty. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, fuck.
Blood drains from your face.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and I take a second. It's like
take us through that like explosion.
Yo, it's like you know when you see like those coming of age movies, like you're watching like Menace to Society and like Trey, like everything's flashing through his mind.
Yeah.
At the end, you know, when he's standing in the street, like deciding get in the car, don't get in the car. That's what that moment was for me, man. Like,
hey, John Singleton, paint the picture, bro. Come on.
Yo, wait, not Menace to Society. Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
Sorry, Boys in the Hood. My bad. Cuba Gooding Jr., man. No disrespect, but you know, dope boy Trey. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like he sees his life flashing.
Yeah.
And that's what it was at that moment for me. Like, I just thought about all my jobs and everything, my mom, my brother, my family, my dad. I'm just like, this, like, I could be on my Eminem first scene 8 Mile and just fucking freeze up, and that's it. Boot up the stage, done.
Or you could have already thrown up.
That could have been the end of PMK BNC. The era was the grand opening, grand closing right there. Because I could have just froze and she would have been like, up.
Yeah, but Cheddar Bob already shot himself.
He already shot himself. So I kind of waited a second. And because we're on a couch, like I'm not looking her face to face, I kind of just turned over to the side.
Ooh, swagoo.
And I just said, because all the brands that you want me to work on, I eat, sleep, and breathe them already. So you could hire me or not, and I'm still going to wear J's. I'm still going to listen to my music in my Beats headphones, and I'm still playing Call of Duty.
Talk to me.
So you could either have me as an asset here, or I could walk out and I could go back to Konami working on video games. But I want to work here. I'm the best person you could hire to work on these accounts because I eat, sleep, breathe this. And it's a passion of mine. And I might be rough around the edges.
Ooh.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to have some learning curves because I'm coming straight from a video game world.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm a pretty quick learner.
Yeah.
And, you know, and without ever even remotely dipping into my past, I was like, I've dealt with so much adversity and I've gone through so much, like, this should not be something hard for me to pick up and learn.
You can overcome. What'd she say to that?
And she just looks at me, kind of shakes her head, and she goes, okay.
She better have passed the better have passed the baton to Usain Bolt.
The crazy part about it was she just goes, okay, and then someone knocks on the door, and she's like, Monica, your 3:15 call is on, and then she's like, I gotta go. Nice talking to you.
Wow, but you left her at that.
And I was like,
that's lit.
But it's just like,
shout out to her 3:15.
On one hand, I was like,
that was a mic drop when there was no microphone in the building.
On one hand, though, I was like, wait, did I just all just kind of go over and she did? I was so shook. I remember
did I Lupe her?
I walked out and I was like, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then, because she didn't say anything to me, like she didn't ask me any questions. She was like, I gotta go. And I was just like, I walked out and I was like, I remember I called Rick afterwards because I was just like, he's like, how'd it go? And I was like, hey man, so just met with Monica. He's like, how'd it go? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, she literally asked me one question and I kind of like gave her an answer and we kind of like talked and then she had to go. And that was literally it. So I'm driving home and I'm talking to Rick. I'm just like, well, I don't know. All right. And I got to go to work. I got to go back to Konami. I still have a job at Konami. Yeah. So I'm driving to Konami and I'm at Konami and I'm like, it's just a mind fuck that entire day.
Like, were you thinking like, wait, did I fuck that up?
That's what I'm saying. Like, so I didn't know, right? I'm like, this was my one shot. I'm like, I'm talking to the COO of PMK BNC.
Let me ask you this. Did you say that with that much conviction?
Yes.
Okay. So in your head, you literally like, you had that moment. It was like a fucking fission blast, right? And you said what you needed to. Circumstance had it that like you literally fucking were like on stage and it's like, this is why I should be class president.
Exactly.
And then the power went out.
Yeah, no one claps.
Well, what I love though is that you were completely yourself though in that moment. Like you could have definitely given like the professional like
On a
Like-
couch in solitary confinement? And
Pretty
then
much.
Like the buttoned up like response, like, well, I've experienced working on this brand. I've done these campaigns. I've
Yeah.
done these activations, and like you could have like went through. I have 10 years of experience. Whatever
Yeah.
you wanted, but you went straight Rob, straight passion.
Yeah.
Went for the and doing that at such a high level corporate like opportunity.
Yeah.
is wild. But you were like, fuck it. If you're gonna go with there, you gotta go with that opportunity being 100% you.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I was like, no matter what happens, I still have a dope job at Konami.
Yeah.
And that was always in the back of my head, right? Yeah. If I bomb this interview, if it doesn't work out, would I be a little bit sad that I didn't get to work on Jordan Brand and Beats and Call of Duty? Yeah. But it's not like I was going back to small potatoes. I was still working for Konami. So
Yeah.
I think that allowed me to kind of have that confidence. And I was like, I have nothing to lose.
Right.
I didn't go applying for this job. Like, someone asked me if I was remotely interested, which I was, but it wasn't like, oh man, like I've been applying for this job forever and I finally got the call and I'm here and I totally bombed the interview. So part of it was kind of like, the mind fuck was, did I make the right decision to be so just like real and raw and off the cuff? And if I did, I probably just blew my shot working at an amazing agency. And
But you couldn't have done it better. In hindsight,
Yeah.
2020,
No.
Yeah,
right?
so-
In Bradley Cooper, in American Sniper, right? You couldn't have done it better. You literally could not have fucking expressed that any better. And God bless the fact that she threw a thug at you, right? And from that moment of having the Losi swizzle, right? The fucking curls of the gods talking to you and saying, dog, you were meant for this. And you, in that moment, whether you fully believed it or not, you owned it.
Yeah.
Right? You said what you needed to. Like, you gave her, Robert, you gave her you.
yeah.
You didn't give her what, like, this is the differentiator. You did not give her what you thought she should be given. You gave her you.
And it's funny.
And like literally like the auditorium was evacuated and you were like, was I tight though, or did I just fuck this all up?
I gave her this as I take off my sweatshirt to show you I have a human heart on my bicep.
It's awesome, man.
2 reasons. One, because of my heart conditions.
A tattoo.
Yeah, I have a tattoo of a human heart on my bicep. But the second is like, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yes.
I'm Rob. Like that in that interview, that was Rob.
That was
Rob.
Rob.
was not like corporate.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Robert Santini.
That was
like,
hi.
that's me. And that and part of it was like, was that my Chappelle when keeping it real goes wrong moment? Like, did
Yeah.
I just fuck that up?
Yeah.
You know, should I have been buttoned up? Should I
Yeah.
have been more professional and polished and talk about my experience? And I kind of was like, fuck.
No.
You know, but like in my mind, I was
Yeah.
like, I think I fucked that up. Right? So now, and I'm
It's the what if.
and I'm telling this to Rick, and he's like, well, let me talk to her and see what's up. And so,
Hey, shout out to the unicorn. Go ahead.
so whatever, I go to work, and I'm just sitting there and whatever. And I'm like, hey, Rick, like, did you get a chance to talk to
Yeah.
her? You know, now I'm all of a sudden
Yeah.
like, self-doubt is creeping
Yeah.
in again. I'm like,
Yeah.
I haven't heard from him. Now I'm like,
now you're
now
sending
I'm,
like blushing emojis.
I'm like texting him. I'm like, hey, you know, like, let me know if you hear from her. Like, if you hear anything, he's like, all right, I'll let you know. I went to work that day, whatever. Talked to Brandon. He's like, how'd it go? I was like, I was like, I don't know, man. I'll be honest, I don't know. I was like, I probably didn't get the job,
Yeah.
but
You're setting it up.
it's all good because you know what, man? I'm still here at Konami with you. We rocking. It's all good. Like, thank you
Sure.
for putting me in touch with Rick. He was really cool. Like, I appreciate it. Like,
Yeah.
whatever happens out of this,
Yeah.
like, I want to stay in touch
You
with
little,
him.
you little kitty cat.
'Cause he was
man.
cool.
I feel you.
And I go to work the next day, and I get a phone call from our HR director at PMK. And she's like, yeah, so I just kind of want to go over like your benefits and everything.
And are you at Konami?
I'm at Konami. I'm like, I step outside, and I'm in the lobby, and I'm like, wait.
Joe's gonna hate editing this.
God
Stop that.
damn.
Go ahead.
She calls me, and she's like, yeah, do you have a second to talk? I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I just kind of want to go over your benefits package and your salary compensation and kind of go and start that discussion and, you know, talk start dates and everything. I'm just like,
what?
and I literally, I'm like, oh, wait, hold on a second. Because at this point, I haven't heard back from Rick yet. Never heard back from Monica. And she's like, so I'm like, wait, let me get this straight. So did I get the job? She's like, yeah, did no one tell you?
I love the corporate world. I love the corporate world.
No one ever told me I got the job.
It's so amazing.
Yo, you texting Rick like, bro, really?
And I was just like, hey man, like, is this a joke? Like, is this real? Like, and he was like, oh yeah. Like, I talked to Monica. She said you killed it. And I was like, were you going to tell me that, bro? So I remember I was sitting there. It's like,
in a dream world.
yo, it's literally, it's like
you literally were at cloud 9 and you knew where that was.
bro, I remember being in the lobby of our building. There's a Spectrum gym across the way. It was like, I screamed at the top of my lungs, man.
Yes.
And I started crying.
Can you
Oh, my
emulate the scream
God.
before the tears?
Bro, I'm literally about to start crying right now, man. It was
Hey,
awesome.
no, before you cry, you better scream like you screamed. Can
nah,
you
man,
bring
we
that
can, like
scream back?
blow out people's eardrums.
No,
and
but
shit,
no, I want to
man.
blow them out. Can we do it? If we can't, let me know.
Man,
Can we scream like you screamed?
It was on some fucking Entourage.
Can you give me that?
Johnny Drama.
Hey, I'm literally a CNN
It was.
reporter. Can you give me the scream that was described?
It was literally on some Johnny Drama Viking Quest. Victory!
Oh!
Just like,
Oh!
you know, like I was.
Yes!
First thing I
We
did,
got it, though.
I called my brother, man. Of course, and just like I was like, I got the job, you know. I'm crying, and he's like, he's happy, you know. He's like, yo, like, yeah, you know, like I was just so pumped, man.
Now, why so pumped though? Like from this, just like because you kind of even set your expectations lowered, but now like that it became a reality. What was that? That like, was it the actual job or just like the life sense of how far you came?
I mean, it was that, you know. It was like, it was just, again, it's that going back through everything, flashing, and I was just like, holy shit, like I'm about to rep Jordan Brand and Call of Duty and Beats, and like, and even just like when the HR lady like told me like what I was gonna make, and it was a lot more than I was making at Konami. I was just like,
Mama!
yo, you better believe the next call was my mom.
Of course.
And
Oh, shit.
man, she was so proud of me, and she was like, and this is the dopest thing about my mom. She was like, why are you so surprised?
Wow.
She's like, look at everything you've done already. She's like, I knew you were going to get that job. When you told me you were going up for it. Because, you know, there's two people I always talk to when I'm going through stuff like that. I talk to my brother on just some like, yo, give me the guidance. And then I talk to my mom just for like that motivation. My brother kind of gives me he gives me the shit I need to hear.
Yeah.
You know? And my mom is just like,
She does the same.
but in a different way. Like my brother does it in a way where it's just kind of like, he has to almost, my brother almost kind of has to like gas me up,
Yeah.
you know?
But you need both.
Yeah.
You know what's beautiful is that your mother, I'm just about to say, I just felt something, I'm about to say it vocally. The woman your mother was, right, changed the moment your father died.
Oh yeah.
Right.
100%.
But the mother your mother was and is
Same person.
Stayed
Always
the same,
loving,
dog.
always caring, always like telling me I could do whatever I want.
And that's the beauty of like the dichotomy of just like life in and of itself and like roles and functions.
Yeah.
Right. And which is why earlier I brought up like now is like the woman that your mother is, her rebirth, because everything that she fought for, like she couldn't have fucking dreamt it like better.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's literally her children are having children and she's a kid again.
Yeah.
Right.
All excited.
And it's insane to me, dog. Like it's insane because there's a beauty in that. Like as broken as you've seen your mother be, and as motivated as you've been because you wanted to like literally just like make her proud, that she was always your support system because mom was intact. Imagine the beauty, right, of a mother having her son know that her woman and her human being in her is broken, but her duty as a mother is steadfast.
Oh, yeah, always.
Right? And you're still calling moms with everything, and she's still giving you moms with everything.
The rock. She's always like, support system, you know, like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like my brother gives you like the practical, like, okay, like, you know.
But your brother gave you swagoo.
Yeah, he gives me swag, but my mom, it's almost just kind of like, to my mom, she's almost like not impressed.
Your
she's
mom
like,
is the check in the balances.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, why are you so surprised? Like, you deserve this and more. Like, you work so hard.
That eternal belief.
Yeah, you know, like she thinks I can be and do whatever I want to do and be. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so dope, man. And so, you know, it's kind of one of those like, I was like, well, it looks like I got this job. Like, let's go. You know, I went upstairs. I talked to my boss, and I was like, look, man, it's not a money thing. It's just like an opportunity thing, and this is just a great opportunity for me.
But they knew Rob was destined.
Yeah, they knew I wasn't going to be. Even he told me, he's like, I was not surprised. Like, he's like, I'm surprised you lasted here 2 years. You know, like, he's like, I could tell you wanted more than this place. So, you know, transition out of Konami. Now it's like the PMK BNC era begins, and it's just like the beauty of that is like, I've never stayed at a job as long as I've been at PMK. I've been there for 5.5 years. Everything else I was like a year, 2 years most, and then it's like stick and move. And part of it is the culture of PR, marketing, agency life, where you don't want to stay at a place too long because like you never like get your worth. You got to kind of keep moving. But the other part was just kind of like, okay, I'm here now. Like, you have this opportunity, like, just go make the most of it.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, that place changed my life. Like, I met one of my best friends there, who was my roommate and still my boy, Marvin Fisher, Swaggy. Shout out to young Marvin. I met my fiance there.
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and, you know, even though Rick doesn't work there anymore, he's moved on. He's partnered his own agency, killing shit. He's still my mentor. I still talk to him all the time. I was home for Thanksgiving, and we had him, and B. Cox had dinner, and I'm probably going to link up with him while I'm here for Christmas. But every time I see him,
wearing jorts though.
Every time I see him, I always tell him, I'm like, yo, man, you changed my life. Like real shit. You changed my life. You gave me the opportunity to come here, and he gave me that baton, and I Jesse owned that shit.
Okay, so Jesse. Right? The baton's been passed now. You've walked into your crib and you've walked into your new home.
Yeah.
Let's start.
And now it's just like everything you've seen is just a product of just like me wanting to continue to just do really good shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's from every opportunity that you have that you've had, it's you've always gone back to once you get it, you kill it.
Yeah.
So just go into, for you, what does that mean to kill it? Like, it's not just I show up to work every time and, you know, exceed people's expectations.
Yeah.
Like, what does it really mean to you to go in there and take this opportunity and not just leverage it, but go in there and like make that opportunity 10 times bigger or better, or just really squeeze the juice out of it?
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously in the PR game, you're only as good as the relationships and the contacts you have within media. That's just facts. You know, clients pay our agency or any agency money to essentially take their brand and their products and make sure that the best and biggest news outlets cover those brands. Mm-hmm. If you think about how many products, brands there are in the world, how many agencies there are in the world, and then when you break down how many news outlets there are, the news cycle, and how many hours there are in a day, what kind of stories they can write and cover, there are hundreds of people emailing, calling, texting these writers, at outlets trying to get their attention. Look at these J's. Look at these Beats headphones. Look at this Call of Duty game. But like, just like me, who works at PMK BNC, was repping Jordan brand, there's another Rob Santini somewhere who represents Adidas and Reebok and Under Armour who's calling the same dude. Oh. He's calling, Nice Kicks. He's calling Hype Beast. He's calling Kicks on Fire. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
What separates them?
Relationships, man. So the second I started at PMK, Rick was like, look, and I told him straight up, I'm like, look, I come from Konami. All my contacts are video game based. It's the only thing I've been working on for the past 2 years. Yeah. I don't know the people, and I know the video game writers at certain outlets and stuff, but I'm like, now you're asking me to reach out to lifestyle people. Like I was talking to just one audience, video game audience, right? Now I need to talk to music editors. I need to talk to video game editors, sneaker editors, right? They don't know me. They don't know me from the next guy. So the first thing, I'm like, Rick, man, I got to go to New York. That's where all the media is. I got to go. So he's like, all right, well, we have this Carmelo sneaker launch coming out, this Skylanders video game, and we're launching this Beats headphone, and they're all happening in New York within a week and a half of each other. So I was just like, let me just go to New York and just hold it down for like almost a month. Right? So I go to New York, and mind you, I'm on like I'm trying to meet everyone. I'm trying to network with everyone. I'm calling people. I'm like, yo, you don't know me yet, but I need your address because I'm about to send you some sneakers and some headphones and some video games. Like, I just want to get to know you. If you got 5 minutes to meet for coffee, I don't even drink coffee, but if you do, I'll sit with you. I'm taking the red eye. I'll be there at 5 a.m., and whenever you have time for me, let's meet. And that first month, I just did everything in my power to meet every single writer that was influential and every single contact that I needed to work with. And I was just like, yo, I'm going to stalk you. I became that dude who was like, yo, I'm going to jump on Twitter. I can't even DM you because we're not even friends.
But you're applying, you're adding them.
I'm adding them, I was that dude.
You don't see my name.
Yeah. And I was just like, yo, man, you don't know me, but I'm working on, and it's not like I'm selling shit product.
Right.
You literally like,
but still,
it's still hard, because again, these are people who I don't know and don't have relationships with. And I think that from a very early age, it was always easy for me to make friends and build contacts and build relationships with people. Yep. And that was able to separate me. So you talk about what's killing it is my Rolodex in my phone. I can text a writer from the Associated Press, from USA Today, from LA Times, and be like, yo, dude, I need this story. And I know it's a Saturday right now, but I'm going to need you to hook me up with this because I've taken time to build that relationship. And it's not even on some like, I need something from you.
That ask isn't a burden. That ask is like, absolutely.
Yeah, because I took time when I first got to PMK. Like, I made it my mission. I had a hit list. It's just like people who have, I went and literally I was like, okay, let me see all the sites that cover these products. And these are all the people I need to get to know. Wow. So I seriously was like, okay, as I get to meet these people and start a relationship with them, I'm crossing them off the list. Like, all right, cool. I've made inroads with this person. I've made inroads with that person. And I just made it my mission. I was like, I am going to be a media savage. Like, I'm going to know every single person. And not even on some fake shit, because I will say this, man. Like, a lot of people in the industry that I'm in, like, it's only like they only hit people up when they need something. It's like, oh, hey, I got this campaign. And then, like, they go ghost. Like, I've become friends with these people to the point where like these dudes are like my peers. We go get drinks. They come into my house. We have barbecues. They come into my birthday. I go to their birthdays.
And
like
that's what I was going to say.
Function.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, what does it mean to build a relationship with somebody? Because in the game that we're in the industry we're in entertainment, like there's an abundance of, fake shit, fake relationships only when you need it. It's just, there's nothing genuine. How do you balance building a genuine, real relationship with somebody that crosses over into business?
Yeah.
And both you guys are going to need something from each other, but how do you kind of find that balance and do that dance between both sides?
It's all about just keeping it real and transparent. Like off the jump, I'd tell someone like, yo, man, like, I'm gonna send you something, but I'm gonna need you to write something about this. But like when I send it to you, I'm not gonna send it to you. Let's meet for dinner, and I'm gonna hand deliver it to you, and we're gonna have a conversation, and we're gonna actually build a relationship on the spot.
Yeah.
So I went the extra mile.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I made it my point to go out and meet people and genuinely get to know them, and like actually care and hear their story, hear where they come from, learn who their favorite artist is and their favorite sports team. So like when their team wins, I shoot them a note and be like, "Yo, that was
out here on your due diligence."
Yeah,
tip
and it's not on some like dick riding shit.
No,
It's authentic. It was genuine.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, "Yo, we have a common interest. You like
Genuine
music, I like
caring.
music. You like sneakers, I like sneakers." Like. It's not rocket science. I tell people all the time. They're always like, "Oh,
It's
like
people,
what's the key to PR?" I'm like, "It's communications, like public relations. PR stands for public relations. I'm someone who relates to people. You know what I'm saying? Like I build a relationship with people. So once that happened, it was just like it took off. You know. So then I have these relationships now. I'm in New York for a month. You know, and it's just like now. People at my agency are starting to realize, like, oh, you have dope relationships here. You have dope relationships there.
And mind you, listeners, this is now when he got into PMK, right, and had experienced New York. Now is it now? We'll get there later.
Yeah. So I'm there, and it's just like, and you're building these relationships with people. Like, perfect example, like as a project I just finished right now, we just wrapped an amazing campaign with Kendrick Lamar and American Express, right? I met Kendrick and his whole team, the whole TDE crew. Shout out to Dave Free, Rhett, Ali, the whole squad.
Yeah.
Punch.
Yeah.
Top. I met them through my boy Spencer Neasy. I think.
Neasy.
Shout out to Neasy. Just got married.
When was this?
This is
And
just when I started.
Congratulations again, Nees.
This is right when I started at PMK, 2011.
Got it.
Right around the time Section 80 dropped. 2011, 2012, I think. So Neasy, my old roommate, music producer, he had this cat, Ash Reiser, who came around the house all the time.
Yeah.
If you listen to Section 80, he's the cat who starts Ronald Reagan era. We're far from good, not good from far, 90 miles per hour down Compton Boulevard. That's him. So he was always at the house kicking it. And he was trying to, he knew the TD camp. I think he went to school with Ali or something. And he was like, "Yo, man, that's him, man."
This is the first podcast that literally I've been compelled to drop this shit.
We don't
Ash
give
Reiser.
a fuck. But the kids just ain't alright. That's him, man. So he was at the crib one day and he was like, "Yo, man, like, these guys are the truth. These are a good group of dudes. Like, you should get to know them, you know, like if you ever want to do some stuff with them." And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, matter of fact, you know, Ali's a DJ and I'd love to give him some headphones, you know, just on some like influencer. So hit up Marvin because Marvin was doing the influencer seeding stuff for Jordan Brand.
What up, Marv?
And I was like, "Yo, Marv, man, there's this dude, Kendrick Lamar, like my boy knows him. Like he wants to, you know, introduce us to him. Like I'm going to get some beats. You get some J's. He got us tickets to his show at the Fonda. Like let's just pull up and give him some product and just see where it goes." Right?
You goddamn right.
And
Hold on. Look at me again like that when you say right. They can't see it, but look at me again like that when you say right. Right?
right?
I love you.
So again, it goes back to that relationship, right? Build a relationship. I didn't know where that relationship would go, but it was just a great opportunity to get in front of someone who, you know, I thought after hearing his music and people and hearing like the word around LA about like this dude was like gonna be the truth. And so me and Marvin roll up, swag the guys out.
Y'all roll up in like shopping bags.
Yo, 2 shopping bags each. Gifted the homies and, you know, stayed in touch. Section 80's out, critically acclaimed, killing it. And then at this point now, I've transitioned and I'm now working on Samsung. And they're looking to do stuff with music artists. And
It's crazy how it all comes full circle, dog.
you know, and so at this point, Good Kid, Mad City's about to drop. And they're looking to do a party with an artist. So I reached out to Dave and the guys. I'm like, yo, man, I want to put you in touch with our Samsung guy who's booking talent. They're looking for someone. I think Kendrick would be dope. And boom. Now Kendrick is playing the album release party for Good Kid, Mad City for the launch of a Samsung phone. The night after we did a listening, the album, not the album, but the phone release with Kanye West in New York City. We did it back to back, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing this in New York. We kill it with Kanye, jump on a flight, go to LA. We do the Samsung partnership with Kendrick. Now there's a real, not only friendship, but like now it's a business relationship that's being forged.
So outside of business, Rob, because like business Rob created this opportunities because of friend Rob and human being Rob.
Yeah.
Right? Juan Roberto.
Yeah, just because it was like we hit it off. It was cool. We became cool.
But take me through that because like I want people to know what it meant for you to be able to present that opportunity, right? And even if you can reflect back, because like for him to have the album release, like the album release of one of the most classic albums in hip hop, right?
By far.
Was done because you fucked with an artist and you wanted to get to know him. And y'all came in like as if y'all shopped at fucking the Northridge Mall now, which is like a juggernaut in the middle of goddamn nowhere, right? But Good Kid, Mad City was literally one of the most influential albums ever. You as a human being and as a fan of music really fuck with this kid. You being in the position that you were able to present opportunities. You weren't an opportunity hound. You literally said, you know what? Like on some like Tanning of America, Steve Style, where you at? On some Tanning of America shit, you realized what he could and would become, and you brought it to a big body client just off of love and knowing that everybody was going to benefit. This wasn't you saying, yo, I'm going to get in with Top and all them.
Nah.
And no, it was like, dog, I fuck with you. And there are many times where I know Vocal Santini, just as we both do, right? I'll overly tell you how much I fuck with you, right? But at the same time, when we get shit done, you'll realize the overly fuck with you, I don't need to be accepted by you. I'm just literally passionate, and there's something that's evoked within me to want to help you. Anybody that wins in this game, somebody, somewhere, or some group needs to want them to win. Yeah. Right? And that can never be purchased.
Well said.
That can never be fucking created. Nah. Right? Human being to human being. Take us through what, like you being in that situation. Again, I'm taking the listeners to the hindsight is 2020 point.
Yeah.
Right? At that moment, what did you see that it meant to them? Right? Because like you literally played a really integral part in history. Right? Integral part in history. Looking back at it, what did that mean? Not only to you and your function, but looking at it as somebody that you were a fan of and you were able to give this op to, who has continued to become, we all knew he would, but who has continued to become this artist that literally was guided by Pac and that is following in his footsteps of influence. Okay, I'm getting like too like loquacious here. But what did that mean? Give me your view on what that meant to him at that point.
I mean, I can't speak on what it meant to him, but
or what you saw it as.
I mean, I'll go back and say this. Like, I was always a fan first. Like, the second when I heard Section 80, like, before I even, asked, was like, yo, listen to this, I was like, dude, this dude's amazing. Like, as a fan of hip-hop, I fell in love with Section 80. Still, it's to this day one of my favorite albums. And then when Good Kid, Mad City drops, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I listened to that thing on repeat like nonstop. And so it came from a place of we're in a meeting in a room and we're literally deciding like, yo, who are some names of people who would be good to do an event in LA coming off the back of we're doing a massive event in New York with Kanye West, one of the biggest artists of our generation, right? At that time, he wasn't as big as Kanye.
No, but LA was bubbling
But
then.
LA was bubbling him, and I was like, yo, guys, there's a really dope rapper who has this amazing album that just dropped. It's hot in the streets right now. What about him? And this was like me just throwing it out there, you know.
And this was before them saying, send me his Instagram numbers, his Twitter followers.
Nah, it was nothing of that. It was just like, we need a performer for LA who would make sense for this launch for this phone.
Yeah.
Let's come up with some names. And this was me like, yo, well, this dude's from LA. He's hot in the streets. And this is now I'm using the other side. I'm like, as a publicist, as a media person, I'm like, this guy will get picked up by every major music site, specifically in LA, because his album had just dropped that Tuesday.
LA was a hub at the time, too.
Yeah. And on top of that, just in mainstream media, you know, you look at what like Rolling Stone was saying about it, and Billboard and MTV and Vibe and all the outlets who were covering that album. So not only as from a personal standpoint, I love the album. I was pushing it like because I thought it was dope. But then I was like, I need to tell them why this makes sense, because from a PR perspective, it's going to get you coverage.
So your PR perspective, what was the pitch?
I was like, if we do this event with him, he will get picked up by every music outlet, which will benefit Samsung.
Position,
right? And so they were like, all right, like, get his manager on the phone. So the guy who was booking talent at the time, I put him in touch with Dave, and next thing you know, Kendrick's playing the Samsung Note 2 party in LA.
Boom.
Wow.
You know? So, and then from there, the relationship just was maintained. You know, those dudes, every time they had shows.
No, because it wasn't Dave hitting you like, yo, dog, when's our next plug? And it wasn't you hitting him like, yo, I got another opportunity. It was, yo, we have a respect and an appreciation for one another. When I can help you win, I'm going to be thinking of you first.
Exactly. And that's the dope part about stuff like now the position that I'm in. It's like I can go to people and be like, yo, this would be a great opportunity if you're down with it. Like, let's find a way to make this work. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, it was just like, look, man, like selfishly, I want you guys to do this because like I would want nothing more than to hear that album in an intimate setting. Was I think the party was like at Kelly Wersler's house, like some dope house in the hills. Yeah. And retrospectively, and everyone who was at that show will tell you, like, the cops shut down the it was noise ordinance. I'm like, yo, you got Kendrick talking about yeah in Beverly Hills at 10 p.m. on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, looking back, it was the stupidest idea to do that artist in a residence like that. Like, cops came, they had to tell us to like turn the noise down. And I'm like, you can't tell a rapper to not rap loud. That's what they do.
Right.
Kendrick had it. Like, the beauty about Kendrick, dog, is that even during Dot, right? Like, I can recall the first time I met Kendrick and all them was when I graduated college. Shakib was running Loud Dreams. I remember. Literally, we had a show with Big Sean, Mike Posner, you and I, all them, right? And it comes into play because, like, you and I was that group that would bring Kendrick up every time they had a show in L.A., right?
Just like on some, like,
and seeing him perform since then, like, anybody that saw him knew he had it, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
But it was undefined. And it would only flourish when people started either questioning what it was or figuring it out. You feel me? And he had that, all of it. So you're in a position now where you're able to really, like, own your gig. You're tied into the culture, right? Take us through some moments within the PMK BNC world before your move to New York.
I mean, that was kind of like one of the last ones, and I think it was, you know, agency world. You know, clients come, clients go, and I think at the time, like, I'd been working on Samsung, I'd started working on like Pepsi and stuff, but.
You know what? Like, let's bring it back to the basic. What does it mean to work accounts like those?
I mean, it just means, like, just like everything has a cycle, right? Like, if you're an artist who has an album coming out, you got to line up the press run before, during, and after, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the brand campaign, right? So if I'm working on beats and we just launched our product and there really isn't much going on, they'll be like, because it's, when you're at an agency, it's kind of like you work on certain brands, but like they'll bring you in to pinch hit on other stuff. They're like, hey man, we have this music thing with Pepsi. You're our music guy. Can you step in and kind of work on this project? So a lot of times, because of just my natural interest in a bunch of different things, like I love technology, I love music, I love video games, I love sneakers, I would get brought on to different projects and stuff. So like I was always kind of like, yo, if I have the time, I'll help.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot going on in the agency world that like I was just working on a bunch of different stuff. So it was dope because I got experiences to work on a bunch of different projects. But then like I saw that there were like bigger stuff, and that's kind of when the New York opportunities started coming. Where,
okay.
We had the opportunity because I'd work on sneakers in Jordan. Converse was a client, a brand that was looking for a new agency, and they were like, yo, PMK was like, we should pitch them. And they're like, Rob, you're our sneaker guy. Like, you need to be a part of this pitch. The account's in New York, but, so I was flying back and forth to New York trying to pitch Converse.
What was that like? You know what's wild? Ladies and gentlemen, you know what's crazy? We just took a break. I semi-forgot what I was going to say. I asked them to replay it back. I still don't know where we are, but you know what's wild? This is the beginning of New York, isn't it? Right?
It is.
This is after that like last moment in LA where the opportunities were drying out in LA, right? And Robert Santini though, right? Like look at me in my eyes when I talk to you because I'm dead ass in yours. Y'all can't see this, right? Robert Santini know that he's flourishing. He owns it now, right? You're literally doing it. You and I have had interactions because I was just like a random music guy, but like we had a relationship.
Yes.
The crazy shit is I brought artists into your world. We also had a very profound relationship. You and I fuck with each other because of how wild we are. And know this, when I had my Falling Whistles fucking necklace on,
and that blow on
that's when we really got lit, when
Pause.
AJ and Yoni first got the parlor.
Yes.
When football was, if you're not at the parlor, you're
on
not
Sunday,
with it.
you're
and
not.
I was blowing that fucking whistle for every kid in the Congo. I love y'all. Yeah.
You dig?
So now, you know what's wild? Now you have Converse as an option. You're flying back and forth. You're also realizing big body is in the horizon or on the horizon.
Yes.
Tell us how you took advantage of that, and tell us why New York. Because look, like I never knew Chicago was in your shit.
Yeah.
That was your 1 year. You were never there. You wish you had Craigslist or Airbnb and subleased the shit and got a little more flow, but who cares? You here now, right?
Yep.
And you, the dope ass son that's able to dear mama your own mama. Yeah. Now you're here. Now you're actually thinking, look, I'm at a stage in my life where I want more. But more is not for acclaim, because one man that you are isn't a man that looks at monetary as a fucking validation point for his own ego, right? You're happy to be here. You actually came from where you shouldn't have been here, but I'll slap you if you ever thought of that, right? But now you're here. So take us through the transition in a career from, you went from high as fuck to below the volcano, right? But Mount St. Helens was erupting and you were walking up to that bitch, yeah? But now, after coming back from St. Helens, right, you're on the phone with Elon Musk talking about Mars. So take us there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where LA obviously is my home, my whole life. And I'd, at this point, been at PMK for 2.5 years. And it's just like everyone, like you want a shot. I love that you just went all mammal. I love it.
I literally love it when a motherfucker calls me Big Papa.
Hey,
I'm out here.
Let's go. So everyone gets to that point where I'm like, give me the chance to fail.
Now you want it, though.
I want it. Before I was like, this is my role. But now I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable in my role. I want the opportunity. And, unfortunately, like that opportunity for me wasn't necessarily in LA. Like, it's just like, in any place, right? Like there was people above me who weren't going anywhere. They were killing it. And it's not like, you got to take it. You know what I'm saying? And I saw New York as an opportunity. I'm like, okay, we got Converse on the horizon. And serendipitously, shout out to my boy Hater Myers, who's now killing it at Nike in Chicago.
Hater Myers, what it do? You're a
Shout
focal
out.
point.
He was working. He was my counterpart. So he kind of was like the music lifestyle sneaker guy in New York, as I was the music lifestyle sneaker guy in LA. Hater bossed up and got a job at Nike.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, I'm out. Dream job. Peace, PMK. Thank you for everything. Hater was running Amex Sports, Amex Music. We were on the Converse pitch together. We hadn't got Converse yet. We were like final round. And Pepsi. So now Hater's out. We win Converse, right? We go to the final pitch.
Big win.
We win
Thank
Converse.
you guys.
Yeah, it was dope. And now it's like, okay, we win Converse. The account's based out of New York. Oh, and Hater's gone. That's my boy. And I'm like, I'll go to New York. And it was one of those things where like, hey, would you go to New York and work on these accounts? And I was like, yes.
Awesome.
I'm down. I'm ready for the challenge. I think I could do it. Let me just make sure everything's cool from a family standpoint, talk to my girl, talk to everyone and make sure my family, like, and it was one of those, like, I knew I had to do it. It's cliche. It's like, you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. But it was like, New York was always this big, bad city that I was like, I need to go. And that's where you really earn your keep. In the PR world, at least. Marketing, PR. I mean, like, New York is the hub of everything. Hub of fashion.
Sure.
Hub of media. Hub of money. The stock market. Like, New York is where it's at.
It's a beast. It takes balls to move to New York.
It does, And I saw it as an opportunity to really go. And I was like, two things could happen. I could go to New York and kill it. Or I could go to New York and get ran out of town and come back to LA with my tail tucked between my legs. Mm-hmm. And I said, fuck it. What do I have to lose?
Because that was on you, though.
And pack all my stuff up. Noosh was there, helped me pack up on my last day.
Hey, how wild is that?
Crazy, man. And I'm tell you, it's one of those weird things where, like, leading up to it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. Literally the day I was going, my sister had a dinner at her house to kind of send me off. I'm with my girl. I'm with my family. I start bawling, and I was like, I don't want to go. Straight up.
Oh, started freaking out.
I started freaking out. Like 3 hours before my flight. I'm at my sister's house. I'm crying. I'm like,
why?
I can't do it.
Why?
It's just that same doubt creeped in. Like,
again, he went from on top to like, am I good enough?
Story of my life,
but
man.
But look, the beauty is, and I'm shirt off, David Choi, I've gained 7 pounds from the fucking 28 I lost. But fuck it. The beauty is, this happens, bro.
It does.
Like, everybody's scared of their first step, right? On your 30th, on your 60th, on your 90th, you owned the fucking 29 increments up there, but on those steps, you were still fucking scared.
Yeah.
That's real life. It fucking happens. Look at my titties jiggle, Joe. He's taking an Instagram video. I'm owning this. I'm finishing this podcast shirtless. You feel me?
Rocket.
I am.
But, it's just fear always creeps. I feel like that's like the consistent thing in my life where, like, I get all cocky. Not even, I wouldn't say cocky. I get, like, confident, right? I'm like, I can do this. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to kill it. And then it's that kind of, like, that demon that's always there that's telling you, like, yo, you ain't shit. You didn't come from shit. You're going to go over there. You're going to fuck everything up. You're going to fail. You're going to have to come back to LA and tell everyone why you went to New York and didn't cut it. Like, that starts creeping into my head. Like, what are you going to go do out there? You can't hang with them dudes out there. Everyone out there is Ivy League educated, got money, has status, has, accolades that you don't have.
Yeah.
What business do you have going over there working on clients
what
like
business
American
you
Express?
have? You know what business you have? They're doing it because they have the pedigree. You're doing it because you fucking love it, right? And kudos to their Ivy League shit as I'm pinching my right nipple. Pause. Yeah. But kudos to them. But you've lived it, dog.
Yeah.
They've read about it, right?
Yeah. And so that doubt's there, but like I always do, I say, all right, I get on the plane, I go to New York. I'm in some tiny ass little apartment, and those first 6 months, because my girl didn't move out, I went out there dolo because I was like, look, I got to go out there and just go establish myself. You know, it's gonna be some long nights.
Yeah,
the grind is gonna be real.
How long have you been with your girl at this point?
At this point, 2 years, a little over 2 years.
So it's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. Like the conversation was, I did not do the whole relocation conversation until I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. Are you with me? If you say no, I don't go. Straight up. And she was like, all right, ride or die.
It's incredible.
You know, like, and here's the crazy part about that. Right before that happened, though, a very important thing. And this is, you know, everyone always like, yo, how did you, like, if you're with someone, like you've been with the girl for 6 years, like, how did you know? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you how I knew. So 8 months before I moved to New York, my eyes started acting up. I started tearing my cornea. So I didn't realize I had a genetic cornea dysfunction, keratoconus, where my corneas are shaped like cones, not ovals. Oof. So I'm going, and it just kind of my eyes have progressively gotten worse as I've gotten older. So in my 20s, I didn't used to wear glasses as a kid. In college, I had to start wearing glasses. And then as I got older, my prescription got worse. And I started tearing my cornea.
Damn, another thing.
I'm just like, damn, I can't catch a break, right? After the 6th time I tore my cornea, eye doctor, Jules Stein, best doctors at UCLA, they were like, yo, you have to get a cornea transplant. Jeez. It's either that or, you know, you're at risk of like losing your eye and going blind out of one eye. So I'm like, all right, got to get a cornea transplant. So I go, and I'm going to the doctor. They're doing all these procedures. I got to get, you know, blood work done. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, here's another thing that's I'm going to have to overcome. And I go through it. My family's there, of course. My girl's there. I had to take a month off of work. Like, I had to be on medical leave, like disability. Like, email shut down at the house, blinds drawn, in the dark for the first couple days. It was like miserable. Like, when I tell you it was miserable. And the first day I came home from the hospital that night, my girl, she grew up pretty like sheltered, like she didn't get to watch TV growing up. So there's like classic movies that she's never seen. And she knows that like my family, like my mom, one of her favorite movies is Friday. Yes,
amazing
immigrant woman from Honduras' favorite movie is Friday. You walk up to my mom and start talking Friday, she'll hit you back with like lines, back and forth, just off
drop
rip.
lines.
Yeah, she used to wake me up to go to school, like Felicia and Craig's like Craig. She would say that to me to wake me up in the morning. And
my grandma gave me that shit.
Yeah, man. So there's my girl at my house. My mom's there, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take care of her." My mom came over and made me some food, and we didn't watch Friday that night because I couldn't see. I couldn't have any kind of bright lights. We put the DVD in, turned the TV off, and we listened to Friday.
Oh my! Everybody did.
No, just me and my girl.
Just you and your girl. She just chilled and listened.
She had never seen Friday.
Oh my!
And she's like, I know I've never
listened to it first.
She'd never seen it, and she's like, and she knew like that was like one of my favorite movies, and I was I was down, depressed. You know, I'm in my house, it's dark as shit. I've got this like patch. I'm looking like MF Doom. I got this like metal thing covering my fucking eye, and she's like, "What do you like? What would make you happy right now?" And I was like, "You know what? Friday." Wow. Because it's just funny, and I laugh at the movie, and it's hilarious, and I can quote it damn near word for word. And she goes, "Let's watch it," knowing that I can't watch it. I'm like, I can't watch Friday. I can't watch TV. I'm not supposed to have any bright lights in my face. She goes, no. We'll just put her on and just turn the TV off. And we listened to Friday that night, and like, when you talk about like certain moments, like that's when I knew. I'm like, yo, that's ride or die right there.
Wow.
So that was like before New York, right? So then my next big moment, I recovered from the eye surgery, is dope. Shout out to whoever's cadaver eye that I have in my right eye. It's not mine, but it's dope. It works. But, you know, then the next year is the next big kind of, because that was a big moment in my life, is the New York move. And she was like, let's go. If it's going to be good for you, if you think this is going to be a good thing, like, I'm riding with you. So I'm there 6 months. They put me on Amex Music. I'm working on Pepsi and on the music side and Converse. And everything is just going great. Like, putting in mad work, building amazing relationships. Now that I live there, so the first 2.5 years at PMK, it was like every time I was flying to New York, I was meeting with cats. But now I live there. So now I'm just like every day, and my girl's not there. So I'm just like,
You're immersed.
Let's go get drinks. Let's get breakfast. Let's get lunch. Let's get dinner. Let's hang out on the weekend. Let's go on a bike ride. Let's go to a show. Like, I'm just like, let's go. I'm just my network is just on steroids.
Booming.
You know? Yeah, how's business? Booming. You know? Every outlet that I need inroads with, like, boom. And not on some, like, I just need something, like, that's my homie.
Yeah.
Like, not even on some, like, I'm just going to hit you up because I need something, like, yo, you want to come over to the house? You want to go watch this flick? You know, like, you want to go play some hoop?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was.
It's also building your social circle.
Yeah,
like being in a new
man.
environment, you're balancing. It's business, but like, yeah, you're there without your girl. It's like you're also building a life in New York.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and it's just like one of those
groundwork was
things
set.
where it was just amazing. And like, now I'm just like, I'm in my zone. You know, like, I'm in meetings. I'm coming up with dope ideas, and I'm just like, this is what I was meant to do.
Let me ask you this, and know that this is the grand opening, grand closing.
Word.
Right. Where are you at right now in your career? And this is the only time in the final stages, and this is another setup. What's your title right now?
I'm a senior director.
And you have a promotion coming?
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Nothing is promised. It's earned.
no,
but yeah,
no, but
you know,
that-
I think I'm on that way to earning it. Yeah.
That's just me assuming that, like, you're on an ascent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob, me without my shirt on, Roushi with his red velvet, like, sitting back like he's a fucking, like, record label owner, right? Running the game. That's my fucking brother right there, yeah. My titties out. We golden. Yeah, we said it, right? You've come so fucking far, and, like, understand how honored I am, and I'm going to speak for Roushi right now because I'm taking the mic. Thurs, I could take the mic and be lit and literally be Martin right now, right? You are a true testament to what life is, right? And I only say that from the surface, and it's beautiful that I can say that from the surface, because anybody looking from the outside in could not see anything internal other than the surface. And I'm going to take a drink. And I wanted to ash in it, but I'll ash in Roushi shit because there's nothing left. But you've come so fucking far. You've dealt with so much. You are the pinnacle of when life throws itself at you, how you literally rise to the moment, right? Instead of saying where you want to go, if you can write a letter or a postcard even, right, to 6-year-old Rob, or actually 7-year-old Rob, where it, like, literally hit you that dad wasn't there anymore. And, like, that year of a blur became a reality. Where you are now, what would you tell Mowgli with the jorts?
Wow, that's some introspective shit. But I would just tell him, like, look, life's not always perfect. You're not going to be able to anticipate what comes your way. There's going to be mad curveballs, fastballs, screwballs, sliders. But no matter what comes your way, it's going to be all right. Yeah. Which is ironic, and not even ironic, but to tie it back together, because like I said, we just finished this amazing partnership with Kendrick and American Express.
Yeah.
And, like, when I hear we gonna be all right,
yeah.
like, when I first heard that song, like I was like, that's my anthem. Like that's what I would tell 7-year-old Rob. We gonna be all right.
But you believe it now.
I might have not believed it then, but I tell you who was telling me that back then? My mother was always the one saying we gonna be all right, and my brother was.
Mama Santini.
But now it's like, that is my, like, no matter what, from this point on, no matter what happens, can't no one tell me nothing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, man. There's a homie of mine who's on the East Coast, man. Now shout out to the homie Danny Nunez, because he actually inspired me to even have this moment where I wanted to tell my story, because he told his about being homeless and living in the car and all his struggles and stuff. And like now, like that dude works at Nike and kills it.
Yeah.
And he's like a G. Like you ask anybody on the street about this dude, Danny Nunez, and like they're like A1.
A1.
Right?
Yeah.
And I read his kind of thoughts about him feeling comfortable telling people where he came from and what he went through.
Yeah.
And it's like he has that, like, you can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you say and do, like, can't nothing take me back to where
And
I
heard
came
him
from.
say,
And it's like that gave me the power and the energy to do the same thing on this podcast here and finally just be like, the truth sets you free. Like, this is me at my most vulnerable and most truthful self. Like, telling anyone who's going to listen to this shit, like, it's all right.
Yeah.
You're going to go through shit.
Because nothing's ever promised.
Nothing's ever promised.
Today.
But you know what? If you work hard and you believe in yourself and you're just a good person, because at the end of the day, you have to try to be an asshole. I'm a firm believer in that, man. Like, you have to go out of your way to be a dick to somebody. It's so easy to be nice to people. So easy, man. Like, it's just, why is it so hard sometimes? I look at this industry that's full of haters, that's full of naysayers, that's full of people trying to chop people down, crabs in a barrel, man. Like, it's real shit. But it's like, why? Why hate, man? Like, you got to go out of your way to be a hater.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's so much easier to just be loving and kind and open and accepting and just be a good person.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what, at the end of the day, why I always knew I was going to succeed and be successful at whatever it was I did was because at my core, I was always a good person, because my mother and my brother and my family taught me to be a good person. You know, like, always give to those who are in need. You know, always look out for those who can't look out for themselves. You know, like, don't surround yourself with materialistic things. Like, don't put too much value in materialistic shit, because as you saw growing up, we had it all. Yo, I had a dope crib, nice
Porsches out front,
pool in the back, basketball hoop. And that shit was taken from me in a fucking heartbeat, man.
Yeah.
And that was like, I couldn't control that at all.
At all.
And I could have lived my life bitter and angry and resentful and turned into a hateful person and walked around with this vendetta like someone killed my father, so now I'm going to be a gangster myself and I'm going to,
avenge his death.
Nah, that's some stupid shit.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what?
You know what's crazy? You couldn't have avenged your father's death any better.
Like, my father's smiling down when he looks at me.
My brother, look. Like, I literally could start bawling right now, right? But you could not have, A, avenged your father's death, or B, perpetuated your mother's legacy any better. Yeah. It is a fucking blessing to know you, right? I'm so fortunate to have you in my life. And this is a close to Mama, We Made It. I love you so much for sharing your story. This shit touched me more than you'll ever know. And I can't wait for whoever hears this to be touched by it also. Joey, are you ready? Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Mama! We made it!
Thank you, man.
Hey, Mama Santini. Your little boy made it. And I ain't done yet either. This This is just the middle. Turn 35 next year. We gonna keep on shining. To be continued.